Chapter 208. Ning Cheng had just come out of seclusion when he encountered a group of iron-backed thunder leopards. The strongest iron-backed thunder leopard was at least level 5, while the rest were level 3 and level 4. After the group of iron-backed thunder leopards saw Ning Cheng, they immediately swarmed towards him. Gray Toot Toot, who was on Ning Cheng's shoulder, could only grimace and squeak, but it was not even half a bit of use. Ning Cheng did not care about it. He could even kill 20 to 30 profound core cultivators, so why would he be worried about these two trivial class 5 thunder leopards? Moreover, most of them were class 3 and class 4 thunder leopards. He leisurely brought out his profound break spear, as the profound ice spear shadows swept out. 36 profound ice spear shadows. Ning Cheng was now able to fully display them. The dense profound ice spear shadows were countless times more powerful than before. These iron-backed thunder leopards had just released their lightning arcs, when they were immediately blocked by the profound ice spear light net. With a burst of crackling sounds, the profound ice spear shadows broke through the dense lightning arcs of the thunder leopards, causing some of the lower-leveled thunder leopards to fall into chaos. The skin of these iron-backed thunder leopards was simply too thick, as such Ning Cheng's profound ice spear shadows, other than a small number of class 3 thunder leopards, did not have much of an effect on the rest of the thunder leopards. Even if that was the case, these iron-backed thunder leopards also knew that Ning Cheng was not someone to be trifled with. The class 5 thunder leopard roared loudly and led the rest of the thunder leopards away, and soon disappeared into the boundless wilderness. Ning Cheng did not chase after them. The thunder leopards were extremely fast. Once they scattered and escaped, then there would be no point in chasing after them. Furthermore, he had more than enough iron-backed thunder leopard materials in his storage ring. After walking for 2 days, even Ning Cheng did not dare to fly in this place. In the second segment of the Law's Way, not only were there many monstrous beasts, but they were also getting more and more powerful. Apart from the demonic beasts, there were also many dangerous places in the second section. If one was not careful, they would fall into a trap. Ning Cheng had almost been sucked into the whirlpool of the swamp several times. If not for his twin heavenly cloud wings, then perhaps he would have already fallen into it. After a few days, Ning Cheng finally summed up a pattern. The distribution of spiritual qi in the second segment of the Law's Way was extremely uneven, as such one would have to try to walk in a place where the spiritual qi was scarce. There were very few demonic beasts in this kind of place, and there were not many dangerous forbidden areas. Even if there were, most of them were not fatal. However, while it was safe to travel in a place with a lack of spiritual energy, there was a drawback, and that was that there was nothing good to be found. Whether it was spirit grasses or precious materials, they could not be found in these places. If he wanted good stuff, he would have to find a place with dense spiritual qi. The denser the spiritual qi, the more good stuff he would be able to obtain. Of course, the more dangerous it was. Regarding the situation inside the Law's Way, Ning Cheng estimated that among all the people who came in, he was the one who knew the least. However, even if he knew the least, he knew that if he kept walking in the safe area where spiritual energy was scarce, he would not be able to survive. Even if he walked like this for the rest of his life, he estimated that he would not be able to walk out of the second segment of the Law's Way, not to mention looking for the spiritual enhancement true nectar. Since he had entered the Law's Way, then he would have to look for his own opportunities. Ning Cheng began to specifically look for places with rich spiritual qi, although these places were indeed very dangerous, but Ning Cheng relied on his twin heavenly cloud wings, and was able to escape from groups of monstrous beasts several times. Because of this, Ning Cheng obtained a lot of good things. The best thing was that he had obtained more than 10 profound life fruits, which was one of the spirit grasses that he wanted the most right now. The profound life fruit was a level 5 spirit grass and was the main ingredient for refining the profound life pill. The profound life pill was a pill used by profound congealing cultivators and profound essence cultivators to restore their true essence, and was classified as a level 5 profound pill. For Ning Cheng, this kind of pill was very important when he had dealt with that group of profound core cultivators. If he had the profound life pill, then he absolutely would not have suffered such heavy injuries. In this way, Ning Cheng used a guerrilla warfare approach to search. If he encountered a dangerous place, he would immediately retreat, and if he encountered a place where he could snatch the spiritual objects, he would immediately go forward. Along the way, Ning Cheng's most dangerous encounter was when he was almost sucked into a spatial wind edge belt. Even with his twin heavenly cloud wings in this kind of spatial wind edge belt, it was completely useless. After experiencing this kind of thing, Ning Cheng was even more careful. If the things were not very precious, then he would generally not take such risks. But now, Ning Cheng was staring at a piece of spiritual grass in the distance, and was not willing to leave. This piece of spiritual grass was not very high level, it was only a level 4 silver spiritual flower. Although the silver spiritual flower was only a level 4 spiritual grass, but it was one of the most precious spiritual grasses for profound congealing cultivators, and was also one of the top level 4 spiritual grasses. This kind of spiritual grass could be used to refine the spiritual accumulation pill. The spiritual accumulation pill was the best pill for late-stage profound congealing cultivators to use for their cultivation. Although the spiritual accumulation pill was only a level 4 pill, but compared to the essence accumulation pill, its grade was several times higher. Not to mention that this place was filled with wild silver spiritual flowers. The effect of the silver spiritual flowers planted by the cultivators themselves could not be compared to it. But what made Ning Cheng depressed was that this piece of silver spiritual flower was growing in the middle of a whirlpool swamp. Moreover, next to this piece of silver spiritual flowers, there were 2 peak class 5 one-horned mammoth demons. These 2 one-horned mammoth demons, one big and one small, were both staring at Ning Cheng, and were very vigilant. Ning Cheng really did not understand, why would these 2 peak class 5 monstrous beasts want to guard these silver spiritual flowers that were not of much use to them? However, no matter how difficult it was to obtain these silver spiritual flowers, Ning Cheng did not want to give up. He was sure that as long as he could obtain a few silver spiritual flowers and refine them into spiritual accumulation pills, then he would definitely be able to advance his cultivation to the great circle of the profound congealing realm. Moreover, with so many silver spiritual flowers, even if he could not use up the spiritual accumulation pills, he could still sell them in large quantities. Ning Cheng took out his true cosmic devil axe. He decided to take a risk and give it a try. The 2 one-horned mammoth demons were staring at him, and did not rush out. It was clear that as long as Ning Cheng did not violate their territory, they would not take the initiative to attack Ning Cheng. In this area, these monstrous beasts that did not take the initiative to attack their opponents were relatively mild. The temptation of the silver spiritual flowers made Ning Cheng carefully move forward. As he got closer to the place where the silver spiritual flowers were growing, the suction from the swamp was getting stronger and stronger. Ning Cheng was even more puzzled. Why were these 2 one-horned mammoth demons not affected by the suction from the whirlpool of the swamp? Seeing Ning Cheng still approaching them, a larger gray-colored one-horned mammoth demon issued out a burst of roars, as if it was threatening Ning Cheng. When it saw that Ning Cheng was not threatened, it unexpectedly rushed out of its original position and rushed towards Ning Cheng. The true devil axe in Ning Cheng's hands directly brought out an axe-line whirlpool, as it rumbled towards this one-horned mammoth demon. He still had some leeway. These 2 one-horned mammoth demons looked relatively mild. As such, Ning Cheng did not intend to kill these 2 one-horned mammoth demons. After all, this was something that he had snatched from these monstrous beasts. On Earth, beasts did not have any spiritual wisdom, but in this place, the class 5 monstrous beasts were able to open up a bit of spiritual wisdom. Ning Cheng did not regard these 2 one-horned mammoth demons as beasts that did not understand anything. His idea was to snatch some of the silver spiritual flowers and then immediately leave. Although Ning Cheng did not use his full strength in this axe-intent whirlpool, but even a late-stage profound core cultivator would not dare to underestimate it. What Ning Cheng did not expect was that this one-horned mammoth demon that was rushing towards him not only did not evade, but instead directly used its horn to strike Ning Cheng's axe-intent whirlpool. A powerful backlash came, causing Ning Cheng to feel a burst of stuffiness in his chest. He immediately knew that this was not good. This peak class 5 one-horned mammoth demon was far more powerful than he had expected. Bang! The power of the one-horned mammoth demon's monstrous essence exploded on top of Ning Cheng's axe-intent whirlpool, directly shattering Ning Cheng's axe-intent whirlpool, while Ning Cheng was also sent flying by this kind of force. The powerful suction force coming from the swamp made Ningqing even more depressed. Why was he able to feel this kind of suction force, while the one-horned mammoth demon was not even the slightest bit affected by it? Ningqing desperately stimulated the twin heavenly cloud wings. Even if he was more powerful, he absolutely could not fall into the swamp. Once he was sucked into the swamp whirlpool, wanting to come out again, it would be extremely difficult. The might of the twin heavenly cloud wings at this time was without a doubt, as Ningqing forcibly broke away from the suction force of the swamp. Immediately he saw that his position was not far from the silver spiritual flowers, and was immediately overjoyed. At this time the other one-horned mammoth demon that was guarding the silver spiritual flowers seemed to be somewhat afraid of him, as its eyes were filled with fear. Ningqing did not hesitate, as he directly stimulated the twin heavenly cloud wings and rushed towards the silver spiritual flowers. He had not yet reached the front of the silver spiritual flowers, when his hand had already grabbed them. He decided to catch as many as he could in the face of these two one-horned mammoth demons. Moreover, in the swamp whirlpool, wanting to defeat them and obtain the silver spiritual flowers was simply too difficult. According to the current distance between him and the second young one-horned mammoth demon, Ningqing calculated that after he grabbed the silver spiritual flowers, it would be too late for that one-horned mammoth demon to attack him. Bangka! Ningqing's hand had just caught the silver spiritual blossoms at the same time, when another one-horned mammoth demon that was originally cowering in fear suddenly rushed towards Ningqing like a madman, and similarly used its horn to attack Ningqing's back. Ningqing was just like a meteor as he was sent flying, and was instantly injured. If he had to do it again, Ningqing would absolutely not do such a thing. He simply did not think that the speed of this small one-horned mammoth demon would be 5 or 6 times faster than the big one. He had calculated that at this distance, the small one-horned mammoth demon would not be able to sneak attack him, but he did not calculate that the speed of this small one-horned mammoth demon would be this fast. Almost at the same time that he launched the sneak attack, it had already succeeded. The powerful suction force of the swamp whirlpool came over. Ningqing crazily stimulated the twin heavenly cloud wings, and with great difficulty was barely able to break away from the swamp whirlpool and rushed out. If he did not have the twin heavenly cloud wings, with this sudden change of events, Ningqing was sure that he would have been sucked into the swamp whirlpool. Spitting out a mouthful of blood, Ningqing could feel the bones in his back breaking, and was already suspecting in his heart that the cowering eyes of that small one-horned mammoth demon from before was just an act. Otherwise, that kind of sneak attack speed, that kind of sneak attack timing, was simply indescribable. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, Ningqing would not have believed that a one-horned mammoth demon's speed would be this fast. After Ningqing was injured, he quickly escaped. Fortunately, the two one-horned mammoth demons were not aggressive. Seeing that Ningqing had not stolen many silver spiritual flowers, they did not continue to chase after Ningqing. Chapter 209. Although this injury was not a serious injury to Ningqing, but the pain was real. Ningqing saw that the one-horned mammoth demon was not chasing after them, and also felt relieved as he sat down and swallowed a healing pill. The place he was at was already a place with thin spiritual qi. Generally, demonic beasts would rarely come to this kind of place. Besides, his injuries were not serious. After eating the healing pills, he would be fine after sitting down for a while. His injuries had not yet fully healed. When Ningqing once again grabbed the profound break spear, a person's shadow stumbled over from a distance. Ningqing immediately recognized who this person was, causing him to feel relieved as he once again put away the profound break spear. At the same time, he took out a jade box and placed the 6 stalks of silver spiritual blossoms beside him into it. These few stalks of silver spiritual blossoms were obtained by him risking his little life. He could not casually throw them around. "Ah, you are senior apprentice brother Ningqing." After this figure arrived in front of Ningqing, the first sentence spoken by him immediately shocked Ningqing. Ningqing was stunned for a good while before he asked, "Zhang Sunyan, how did you know that I am Ningqing?" "Senior apprentice brother Ning, why are you also injured? Are you all right?" Zhang Sunyan, on seeing Ningqing's back was covered in blood, immediately asked in a nervous manner. It seemed that she was even more nervous than her own injuries. Ning Cheng was speechless as he spoke. You should worry about yourself, I'm fine. The clothes on Zhang Sun Yan's body were in tatters, and there was a bloody wound on her abdomen, which completely tore apart the clothes covering her abdomen. Just a little more and it would reach the navel. The exposed skin on her abdomen was no longer white, but rather had turned gray because of the mud. If one did not look carefully, they would have thought that it was Zhang Sun Yan's underwear. Her hair was also incomparably messy. Fortunately, Ning Cheng was acquainted with Zhang Sun Yan, otherwise, he simply would not have believed that this was Zhang Sun Yan. When he had first met Zhang Sun Yan, her face still had some baby fat on it, her hair was also combed neatly and beautifully, and her voice was also soft and gentle. How could she be as sloppy and distressed as she was now? This is not good, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning. I beg you to save Elder Sister Lingwei. Big Brother Ning, if you do not save Elder Sister Lingwei, then she will not be able to. Zhang Sun Yan finally reacted. She had come here to look for help. Finally, she even changed the way she addressed him to Big Brother Ning. It could be seen that Zhang Sun Yan was incomparably anxious. Ning Cheng knew who this elder sister Lingwei that Zhang Sun Yan was talking about was. It should be Jia Lingwei, who was always together with Zhang Sun Yan. However, regarding Zhang Sun Yan's call for help, Ning Cheng was not too nervous or anxious. Moreover, he and Jia Lingwei were not good friends. Besides, initially when those cultivators had set up the blue stone door at the entrance of the second segment, he had taken the initiative to help them. Jia Lingwei and Zhang Sun Yan were well aware that he was in danger, but they still chose to walk away, and did not even try to help him. He didn't ask anyone else to help him, but Zhuang Xiangsha stayed behind. I am a devil cultivator, and a heavily injured one at that. Zhang Sun Yan, you and I have been talking for such a long time, it seems to be somewhat inappropriate. Zhang Sun Yan completely did not care about the sarcasm in Ning Cheng's tone, as she anxiously spoke. Big Brother Ning, there is also Senior Apprentice Sister Yanji. You said that Yanji is also here? What are they going to do? When Ning Cheng heard Yanji's name, he immediately interrupted Zhang Sun Yan's words and asked a question. Yanji was a good person. As such, Ning Cheng had a very good impression of her. Moreover, Yanji had also helped him. If something happened to Yanji and he met her, then he really would not be able to help her. Zhang Sun Yan quickly explained the purpose of the three people going to the Blood River Mountains to Ning Cheng, and finally even talked about how Jia Lingwei recognized Ning Cheng. When Ning Cheng heard that Zhang Sun Yan was able to recognize him, it was because Jia Lingwei had seen through his eyes and his name. He also felt somewhat helpless. When he had called himself Cheng Xiaoning, he had not really intended to conceal his origins. After all, even if he was recognized by others, as long as he entered the law's way, he would not care about it. Because when he went out, he would have to restore his identity. But he had not thought that because he was using the true cosmic devil axe, he would be misunderstood as a devil cultivator to such a serious extent. After all, he had come from Earth. As such, he did not know about the degree of disgust towards devil cultivators in the Yixing mainland. Moreover, elder sister Shu did not seem to care about this matter, and just helped him change his appearance. If he had known that such a thing would happen when he had named himself, he would have definitely changed his name to something completely unrelated, rather than casually pronouncing his name backwards. Ning Cheng was very open-minded. Since he had been recognized as Ning Cheng, then he did not have anything to be afraid of. Other than Ji Lufei, he did not have any other relatives here. The Yixing mainland was so big. As long as he found Luofei, and then looked for a place to cultivate, who would be able to find him? In the future, when his cultivation reached the peak, who would dare to talk about him being a devil cultivator? This Yixing mainland, Ning Cheng had already seen through it. This was a place where strength was truly respected. When your strength surpassed others, even if you carried a sign saying that you were a devil cultivator and swaggered around, no one would come looking for you. Well, you change your clothes, we will go to the Blood River Mountains. Ning Cheng stood up. He intended to save Yanji, but at the same time he also wanted to obtain the Blood River Red Lotus. The Blood River Red Lotus was an extremely rare rank 6 spiritual grass. It was very difficult to grow. This kind of spiritual grass could be used to refine the Clean Lotus Pill. The Clean Lotus Pill was a rank 6 profound pill. Not only could it remove the impurities in the body of a cultivator, but it could also decompose pill toxins. In addition to this, the clean lotus pill was one of the best pills for a profound core cultivator to break through a bottleneck. Ning Qing now had the silver spiritual blossom, so advancing to the profound core realm was only a matter of time. The Blood River Red Lotus was very important to him. No need to change clothes, let's hurry up. I am afraid that senior apprentice Sister Ji and elder sister Lingwei would not be able to hold on for too long. Zhang Sun Yan was very smart. She knew that Ning Qing valued Yan Ji more than Jia Lingwei. As such, she simply put senior apprentice Sister Ji in front of him. After saying that, Zhang Sun Yan was afraid that Ning Qing would have a knot in his heart, and took the initiative to explain, Big Brother Ning, the fact is that elder sister Lingwei took me away was not because she was afraid of death or because she was ungrateful like Nailan Rushua, but because elder sister Lingwei knew that even if we stayed there, we would not be able to help you. As such, she chose to leave. Elder sister Lingwei said that if she could save you, she would definitely not leave. She said that even if you were a devil cultivator, the Dragon and Phoenix Academy has existed for thousands of years, and has its own way of survival, and would absolutely not be exterminated just because she saved a devil cultivator. Ning Qing had said that Nailan Rushua was ungrateful in front of Zhang Sun Yan, but how would Zhang Sun Yan and Jia Lingwei know about the details of this matter? How do you know that Nailan Rushua is ungrateful? Ning Qing asked again in doubt. He knew that Jia Lingwei and Nailan Rushua had a good relationship, as such she would not say that Nailan Rushua was ungrateful. Zhang Sun Yan spoke with disdain. You risked your life to save Nailan Rushua from the hands of two profound congealing cultivators, but she even suspected that you had taken advantage of her. Senior apprentice Sister Ji said that it was just 2 lumps of meat. Even if you let me touch it, I would not touch it. If I am not interested, then Big Brother Ning, your ability is so high, so you would definitely not be interested. Nailan Rushua being ungrateful was something that I said to elder sister Ji, but elder sister Lingwei did not say anything about it, and even helped her explain a few words. Ning Qing blushed with shame. This Zhang Sun Yan's words were completely different from her original playful and adorable appearance, as well as her tranquil and gentle appearance. It was reasonable to say that since she was following behind Jia Lingwei, she should have been influenced by her words. Even if one was not interested in this kind of thing, what did it have to do with one's cultivation level? Zhang Sun Yan was not someone who did not understand anything, but after she finished speaking those words, she immediately knew that her reason was completely nonsensical. It was just that she was affected by Yan Ji's words, and did not like Nailan Rushua at all, as such she was just speaking nonsense. Ning Qing was not interested in the meat on Nailan Rushua's chest. It was definitely not because of his high ability. Ning Qing waved his hand and spoke, This matter is already in the past. I have nothing to do with her in the past, nor will I have anything to do with her in the future. You tell me, why did senior apprentice Sister Lingwei say that if she saved me, then the Dragon and Phoenix Academy might be exterminated? I heard that a few hundred years ago, the Lu continent's largest academy, the Kuan Yun Academy's disciple Jing Hao, in order to save a female devil cultivator, he killed several disciples of the academy. As a result, the Kuan Yun Academy was found as an excuse. Dozens of academies joined forces to besiege the Kuan Yun Academy, and the Kuan Yun Academy was also exterminated overnight. Zhang Sun Yan was not very clear about this past event. The reason why she was able to speak about it to Ning Qing was because Jia Lingwei had told her about it. So that's how it was. Ning Qing muttered to himself, and did not ask any more questions. Chinese culture had existed for thousands of years. As such, Ning Qing had seen too many such things. The extermination of the Kuan Yun Academy was definitely not because of a single disciple who had helped a devil cultivator. This was just an excuse. He did not believe that because of such a trivial matter, several academies would join forces to exterminate the Kuan Yun Academy. This was just like the July 7th incident. Even if there was no July 7th incident, there would still be the July 7th incident, and then the July 9th incident. This kind of excuse could always be found. On the contrary, he was a lone person. Even if he was a devil cultivator, it would still be impossible for dozens of academies to besiege him. In this world, the so-called prestigious academies, Ning Qing had seen a lot of them. But those academies that had a grudge with others, once they tried to make friends with him, then perhaps they would really be used as an excuse by others. You lead the way. Ning Cheng saw that Zhang Sun Yen was not as bashful as Nalan Rushue, and also had a good impression of her. Zhang Sun Yen responded, as she flew along the thin spiritual qi along the way. Her speed was incomparably fast. Ning Cheng secretly nodded. These disciples from the prestigious academies really were different. If he did not have the mysterious yellow bead, then if he landed in the Yixing mainland, he would only be a slag. Why is it that senior apprentice Sister Ji and senior apprentice Sister Ling Wei are in trouble, and yet you are fine? Ning Cheng asked as he followed behind Zhang Sun Yen. Zhang Sun Yen spoke with a lingering fear in her heart. The Blood River Mountains are very frightening. It is completely made up of red Blood River peaks. When we approached one of the Blood River peaks with the Blood River Red Lotus, we encountered a group of Blood River otters. Because the road to the Blood River peak is very narrow, senior apprentice Sister Ling Wei let me stay at the bottom of the peak to provide support. The result was that after they went up, the number of Blood River otters increased, and finally they were trapped. If the Blood River is at high tide, then they would not be able to go down the peak, and would be drawn into the Blood River, then they would no longer be able to live. Ning Cheng frowned. Why is there a Blood River, and also a mountain peak? I am a little confused listening to you. Big brother Ning, you will know once you get there. The time before the high tide of the Blood River is very short. We need to speed up a bit. Zhang Sun Yen could no longer explain, as she walked faster and faster. Chapter 210. Wait. Ning Cheng grabbed Gong Sun Yen, who was in front of him, as his figure turned into a shadow, and in just a twinkling of an eye disappeared from where he stood. Gong Sun Yen had not even reacted, when several heavy and fishy auras whistled past the place where they were standing a moment ago. Class 6 monstrous beasts? Gong Sun Yen cried out in alarm. These few monstrous beasts that had passed by them a moment ago were definitely Class 6 monstrous beasts without a doubt. Although Level 6 demonic beasts would not take the initiative to attack their opponents in places with a lack of spiritual qi, once they blocked their opponent's path, they would definitely be killed by these demonic beasts without hesitation. That was close, I didn't even see it. Gong Sun Yen said as she patted her chest. Ning Cheng knew that in this place where the spiritual qi was scarce, there were very few monstrous beasts residing here, but it did not mean that these monstrous beasts would not pass through this place. His spiritual consciousness was much stronger than Gong Sun Yan's. As such, the speed of the Class 6 monstrous beast was incomparably fast. Fortunately, he had been paying attention to the surroundings, and was able to bring Gong Sun Yen out of the way in time. I will be careful from behind. I was too impatient a moment ago. Gong Sun Yen quickly spoke up. If she had been a bit more careful, then she really would have been able to avoid it in advance. No, you just have to be careful when we arrive at the Blood River Mountains. Maybe the Blood River tide would have already risen. I will take you there, you just need to point the way. Ning Cheng said as he reached out his hand to grab Zongsuan Yen, and once again returned to the original direction. Gong Sun Yen immediately understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words, and hurriedly pointed to the road in front of them, while constantly explaining the direction. The route was indeed somewhat strange and complicated. If not for Gong Sun Yen leading the way, they might not have been able to find it. Gong Sun Yen was brought forward by Ning Cheng, and their speed really was a lot faster. Initially, Gong Sun Yen simply did not think of anything, but in her heart, Jia Lingwei was even more anxious than Ning Cheng. However, as Ning Cheng's speed got faster and faster, it also became easier and easier for her to give directions. Instead, she started to think of something else. Ning Cheng's arm was pressing against her chest, which made her inexplicably recall the chest attack incident that Nalan Rushue had mentioned. That Nalan Rushue really was making a mountain out of a molehill. Even though Big Brother Ning was pressing down on it, it did not feel any pain or itch, it was just a little bloated. For Nalan Rushue to use a borrowed knife to kill someone for such a trivial matter, to say that she was ungrateful was too light. She had completely ignored the fact that she and Ning Cheng knew each other, and had long since acquiesced to this matter. Regarding Nalan Rushue's matter, Yan Ji's words were already preconceived. Ning Cheng really did not think about it at all. When he had first seen Gong Sun Yen, Gong Sun Yen still had some baby fat on her face. As such, he subconsciously treated Gong Sun Yen as a little girl. Even so, he still paid attention. The clothes covering Gong Sun Yen's abdomen were all gone. When he held onto Gong Sun Yen, he deliberately avoided touching her abdomen and moved up a bit. Big brother Ning, they say that you are a devil cultivator, but why do I feel that you are not a devil cultivator? After walking for a while, Gong Sun Yen suddenly asked. Ning Cheng's tone was a bit depressed as he spoke. I am not a devil cultivator, moreover my axe is refined from the true cosmic devil metal, as such it has a devilish nature aura to it. Gong Sun Yen cried out in alarm and quickly spoke up, Big brother Ning, the true cosmic devil metal is a priceless treasure, you must not go out and casually speak about it. Once some of the powerhouses come to know about it, they will definitely come to snatch it away. Ning Qing gave a self-deprecating smile. It doesn't matter if I say it or not, I guess there are already people who know about it. He had used his axe to kill so many people, moreover there were so many onlookers, there would definitely be people who would be able to guess that the magical weapon he used was refined from the true cosmic devil metal. That's also. Gong Sun Yen in her heart felt very unfair for Ning Cheng, but she could not find any good words to comfort Ning Cheng. She said that Ning Cheng should not have saved people. At that time she was also one of the people who had been saved. For a time, the two people were silent. It's here. Although Gong Sun Yan's mind was in a mess, but she did not forget her own task. When Ning Cheng arrived at a low stone hill, she quickly called out to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng put down Gong Sun Yen and spoke, You lead the way. Gong Sun Yen was very familiar with the 7 or 8 turns, and arrived in front of a smooth stone hill, after which she disappeared a few times. So it turned out to be a natural concealment array formation. Ning Cheng immediately recognized the place where Gong Sun Yen disappeared. This natural array formation was not very advanced, as such he was able to see it with just a glance. Big brother Ning, you give me your hand, I'll pull you in. This place is an array formation. If you do not understand it, then you will not be able to go in. Gong Sun Yen seemed to have noticed that Ning Cheng did not keep up, and once again came out. Ning Cheng waved his hand and spoke, You go first, I know how to go in. Such an array formation, how could he not go in? Gong Sun Yen, on hearing that Ning Cheng did not need her to lead the way, gave an "end" sound, and once again turned around to go in. Ning Cheng followed behind Gong Sun Yen, and soon entered the concealment array formation. In front of them was a long gravel road. This gravel road was very long, and extended to a very far place. There are no more monstrous beasts in here, we can hurry up. Gong Sun Yen spoke, as her speed increased. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, Gong Sun Yen once again turned out of the small road, and entered a narrow valley entrance. Big brother Ning, after this valley entrance is the Blood River Mountains. This valley was very short, and Ning Cheng and Gong Sun Yen were able to quickly pass through it. When Ning Cheng saw the scene in front of him, he finally understood what it meant to be called the Blood River Mountains. The dense blood-red mountain peaks stretched far into the distance. Even his spiritual consciousness was not able to sweep to the end. These mountains were all filled with blood-red rivers. These blood-red rivers gave off loud rumbling sounds as they tumbled, but at the same time they also brought with them a fishy smell. This was not the smell of blood, but rather an indescribable fishy smell. Ning Cheng was sure that he had not seen it wrong. These mountains were actually blood rivers. This completely went against the laws of gravity. As the blood rivers were spread out on top of these blood-red mountain peaks, it was just like a hanging river. Moreover, these rivers were also tumbling endlessly, bringing with it a spray of water. The Milky Way falling from the 9th heaven was used to describe this scene. It would be more accurate to describe a waterfall. It was just that it had to be changed to a blood river. On top of each blood-red mountain peak, there were more than 1 or 2 blood rivers, and in between these blood rivers, there was always a narrow path. Ning Cheng also understood what Gong Sun Yen meant when she said that the path in the Blood River peaks was very narrow. What she was talking about was the path that hung down from the blood rivers. These blood rivers hung down from the top of the mountain peaks, and in addition to the fact that the river water was bright red in color, the rest of it was just like any ordinary river. It looked extremely strange, but Ning Cheng had already vaguely understood it. He was used to things falling from a high altitude, and the river water always flowed down from a high altitude, it was completely because of gravity, or perhaps it was a kind of habitual perception. If the gravity of the Blood River peaks was much stronger than the gravity of the Earth, and it was also evenly distributed, then what about it? Of course, Ning Cheng also knew that he was just guessing, or perhaps this blood river was actually an array formation. In this place, even if something strange happened, he would not find it unexpected. Big brother Ning, senior apprentice sister Ji and elder sister Ling Wei are trapped inside. I'll take you there. Gong Sun Yen spoke, as she hurriedly entered the path under the Blood River peaks. Ning Cheng hurriedly followed behind Gong Sun Yen. He found that his spiritual consciousness was simply unable to penetrate through these Blood River peaks, as his spiritual consciousness was immediately blocked in this place. Gong Sun Yen had not gone far, when Ning Cheng saw Yan Ji and Jia Lingwei. The two of them were struggling back to back against the seemingly endless horde of red monstrous beasts. These red monstrous beasts were not big, but each and every one of them had bright red fur, and had 2 sharp teeth, while at the same time they had extremely sharp claws, and while they were attacking, they were simultaneously issuing ear-piercing screeches. Moreover, they simply did not care about their companions being killed, and were just like a tidal wave swarming towards Yan Ji and Jia Lingwei. Ning Cheng could see that Yan Ji's blue meteor damask was covered in starlight, but it was only able to kill a very small number of the red monstrous beasts, while even more of the monstrous beasts were blown away by the starlight. At best they were only able to retreat a little, and then quickly rush up again. The fur of these red monstrous beasts was unexpectedly incomparably hard. These are all Blood River otters. Not only are they highly toxic, but their skin is also very thick. Ordinary magical techniques are simply useless against them. Gong Sun Yen quickly pointed towards the swarm of red monstrous beasts and explained to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng nodded. He saw that the blood river on both sides of the path that Yan Ji and Jia Lingwei were on had already begun to rise. The blood river had even reached the path that they were on. Big brother Ning, you have to quickly help them. The tide of the blood river is about to rise. Once the tide of the blood river rises, it will directly submerge the path. Elder sister Lingwei and senior apprentice sister Ji will be swept away by the tide of the blood river. They will definitely not be able to survive. We are too late. Gong Sun Yan's tone was filled with tears. Once the tide of the blood river rises, even Ning Cheng would not be able to save Jia Lingwei and Yan Ji. Even if Gong Sun Yan did not say anything, Ning Cheng could already feel the danger. Even if the blood river did not corrode them, if Yan Ji and Jia Lingwei were to be swept away by this blood river, then they would definitely be eaten by the inexhaustible blood river otters. This was the first time that Ning Cheng had seen a blood river otter, but when he was very young he had heard a lot of ghost stories about water monkeys. Water monkeys were the name given to them in the countryside, but there were also people who called them water cats. He heard that this kind of thing was specialized in killing people in the water. After Ning Cheng studied it, he had specially researched about it. He believed that this kind of water monkey was actually an otter, but had been mystified. Regardless of whether the blood river otters were the same thing as the water monkeys or not, Ning Cheng had already rushed towards the path in the middle of the blood river. Jia Lingwei and Yan Ji were surrounded by an inexhaustible amount of blood river otters, and the clothes on their bodies had already been torn to shreds. Looking at their disheveled appearance, compared to Gong Sun Yen who had been looking for Ning Cheng before, they were in a much more distressed state. Ning Cheng had already brought out the profound break spear in his hands, and an incomparably cold profound ice spear shadow swept out. With Ning Cheng's current cultivation, after the 36 profound ice spear shadows were completely stimulated, it brought out a terrifying ice net, which in an instant shocked these blood river otters. The blood river otters here were mostly at rank 3 or rank 4. If Ning Cheng brought out his true devil axe and fully displayed his axe line, then perhaps he would be able to kill a large number of them with just a single axe strike. This was the disparity between their cultivations. The blood river otters on both sides also seemed to be because of Ning Cheng's profound ice spear shadows. At this moment it began to roar, a large amount of blood river waves pushed forward and instantly submerged the path in front of them. Jia Lingwei and Yan Ji, the two people continuously stimulated their true essence to kill the blood river otters, and were already like an arrow at the end of its flight. this kind of large amount of blood river waves, they simply could not stop it. While they were still in a daze for a moment, they suddenly felt their bodies become light. Boom. The next moment the blood river waves swept past their feet. Chapter 211. Jia Lingwei reacted quickly. As she felt a man's aura, she immediately knew that she was being held in the arms of a man. She subconsciously raised her hand towards Ning Qing, who was holding her. But after she made her move, she immediately knew that her move was wrong, as the other party was trying to save her. Not waiting for her to take her hand back, Yanji's hand had already reached out to block Jia Lingwei's attack. She and Ning Qing had fought back to back, and the moment she was held in Ning Qing's arms, she immediately knew that it was Ning Qing. Ning Qing had saved her, so how could she let Jia Lingwei make her move? Elder Sister Lingwei, Senior Apprentice Sister Ji, what are you doing? Zhang Sun Yen looked at Jia Lingwei and Yan Ji, as she asked in a puzzled manner. Just a moment ago when the two of them were fighting, she had already seen it. How could the two of them who were being held in Ning Qing's arms still fight? On the contrary, the multicolored light flashing behind Ning Qing made her forget to ask about it. Jia Lingwei and Yan Ji had already been put down by Ning Qing. Both of them were cultivators at the great circle of the profound congealing realm, although they had fought until now, and their true essence was almost exhausted, but they were still able to stand up. Jia Lingwei's face immediately turned red, as she quickly cupped her fists towards Ning Qing and said, "Many thanks Senior Apprentice Brother Ning for coming to our rescue." Ning Qing nodded, indicating that he accepted her thanks. Jia Lingwei's gratitude towards him was something that she should have. He really did come here specifically to save them. Although he also wanted to obtain the Blood River Red Lotus, but if it was only for the Blood River Red Lotus, then there was no need for him to rush here. Thank you Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng. Yan Ji quickly cupped her fists and thanked him. In her heart she was still shocked as to how Ning Qing was able to come down from the Blood River. It was just like teleportation, but what kind of cultivation level was needed to teleport? Moreover, a teleportation cultivation method was not something that anyone could obtain. If it was not teleportation, then Ning Qing must have used a flight-type cultivation method. One had to know that the suction force of the whirlpool of the Blood River was much stronger than the whirlpools in the Law's Way. Because of this, in order to reach the top of the Blood River Peak, one could only climb up from the Blood River Peak, and could not use a flight-type magical weapon or a flying sword to fly up. Even if Ning Qing had used a flight-type cultivation method, how could he not be sucked into the Blood River? Ning Qing smiled and spoke, "Since everyone already knows that I am called Ning Qing, then Junior Apprentice Sister Ji can just call me Ning Qing." At this moment, the veil covering Yan Ji's face had long since disappeared. While Ning Qing was speaking, he was also secretly startled by Yan Ji's beauty, although at this time Yan Ji's face was covered with sweat, but it did not affect her beauty in the slightest. A few strands of hair were stuck to her cheeks due to the sweat on her originally perfect and beautiful face, adding a bit of a human aura to her perfect oval face. Although both of them had the same peerlessly beautiful face, Ning Qing felt that Yan Ji had a much more warm and gentle aura compared to Nailan Rushue. This was definitely not because of Nailan Rushue's bad attitude towards him, but because when he saw Nailan Rushue's eyes were tightly closed. No matter how beautiful a face was, with its eyes closed, it would lose a bit of vitality. But Yan Ji not only had big sparkling eyes, but there were also a few strands of hair sticking to her cheeks, making people feel that she was a bit more real. As soon as he saw Nailan Rushue open her eyes, he found himself in the face of being hunted down. How could he have the leisure to appreciate a beautiful woman? No wonder she and Nailan Rushue were known as the Luke continent's twin lotus flowers. It really was the case. Seeing Ning Qing staring at her, Yan Ji's face turned slightly red. If it was someone else, she would have already flared up, but she had a very good impression of Ning Qing. It was because she knew that she was too beautiful, that was why she wore a veil over her face. This was the first time that Ning Qing had seen her appearance, so it was normal for him to be a bit stunned. Ning Qing was indeed stunned for a moment, but in just a short period of time, he was able to recover. He had seen a lot of beauties in this place. Moreover, he had already seen 3 beauties of this level including Yan Ji. As such, he did not forget himself. He stared at Yan Ji but did not speak. It was not because he was shocked by Yanji's beauty, but because he was comparing Yanji and Nalan Rushua. Ning Cheng quickly realized that he was being somewhat rude as he quickly spoke up. Initially, junior apprentice Sister Ji had helped me, so it is only right for me to help you out. Junior apprentice Sister Ji and I will go and change our clothes. Yen, you should also quickly change your clothes. Jia Lingwei had already noticed that Zhang Sun Yan's lower abdomen had completely disappeared, exposing her pure white skin, but she was still not aware of it. I know. Zhang Sun Yan spoke a few words, but did not know where to go and change her clothes. The part of her lower abdomen that was exposed was originally gray in color, but after Ning Cheng held it in his arms, all the dust was wiped off by Ning Cheng's clothes, turning it white and clean, and was even somewhat conspicuous. Ning Cheng glanced at Jia Lingwei and Yan Ji, who were also not wearing anything to cover their bodies, and said, "You should also go and change your clothes. I will go and see that Cheng Yixiao." On Earth, clothes that did not cover one's body was simply too normal. Some of the young girls in the prime of their youth wore tattered jeans, or deliberately wore a shirt that exposed their lower abdomen. There were simply too many girls who swaggered around with their navel. As such, he was simply accustomed to it. Among the peaks of the Blood River Mountains, although Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness could not sweep out further, but the range that he could see was much larger than Yan Ji and the others. At this time he saw that Cheng Yixiao was surrounded by a group of Blood River otters. Moreover, Cheng Yixiao did not go up the Blood River peaks. At the foot of the continuous Blood River peaks, there were also some winding paths. The place where Ning Cheng and the other two people were standing at was the path at the foot of these peaks. But they did not have any Blood River otters here. As such, Cheng Yixiao was blocked by the Blood River otters. "Ah, senior apprentice brother Cheng and the others are coming over?" Zhang Sun Yan called out in alarm, but found that Ning Cheng had already gone far away. "What are you so nervous about? When you and Ning Cheng came over a moment ago, why didn't I see you being nervous?" Jia Lingwei gave Zhang Sun Yan a blank look, while simultaneously arranging a simple shielding array formation. Zhang Sun Yan suddenly opened her mouth, but unexpectedly could not find the words to refute. Speaking of which, Ning Cheng was still a person who was regarded as a devil cultivator. After the three people changed their clothes and came out, they did not see Ning Cheng coming back. "Hey, why is Big Brother Ning not here?" Zhang Sun Yan asked in a puzzled voice. "Senior apprentice brother Cheng is coming over." Jia Lingwei suddenly spoke. Sure enough, just as her voice fell, Cheng Yixiao had already appeared in the line of sight of the three people. Yan Ji took out a veil and put it on her face. At this time, Cheng Yixiao had already arrived in front of the three people. "The three of you obviously came from a different direction. How did you arrive here earlier than us?" Cheng Yixiao, on seeing the three of them, asked in a somewhat puzzled manner. "Greetings, senior apprentice brother Cheng. It is because the three of us took the smaller path." Yan Ji quickly cupped her fists and replied. Zhang Sun Yan impatiently asked, "Senior apprentice brother Cheng, did you see Ning?" "Oh, senior apprentice brother Cheng Xiaoning?" After she said the word Ning, she saw Jia Lingwei glare at her. She instantly reacted and quickly changed her words. Cheng Yixiao originally did not know about Ning Cheng. Now hearing Zhang Sun Yan ask about Ning Cheng, he quickly spoke up. "I saw him. It was elder brother Cheng who told me that you were here. To be honest, elder brother Cheng's mind really makes me feel ashamed. When we escaped alone, when elder brother Cheng saw me, he did not ridicule or scold me, but instead told me that you were also here. Thank the heavens, elder brother Cheng is safe and sound." "What about him?" Yan Ji quickly asked. Cheng Yixiao's eyes dimmed as he spoke. It seems that he disdained to be associated with us, and left by himself. Before he left, he asked me to help junior apprentice Sister Zhang Sun Yan. If not for junior apprentice Sister Zhang Sun Yan leading the way, he would not have been able to find this place. I guess that he should have also gone to look for the Blood River Red Lotus. Saying that, Cheng Yixiao seemed to have thought of another thing and quickly added, "That's right, after we came here together, we all dispersed to look for the Blood River Red Lotus. I found that the Blood River otters here attack in groups. It would be very difficult to find them alone. It would be better for us to form a team." Jia Lingwei's mind was very meticulous. She knew that what Cheng Yixiao said was correct. Previously, they had tried it if there were a few more people, then while they were restraining the Blood River otters, they could also send people to collect the Blood River Red Lotus. Otherwise, if they dragged on for too long, they would have to wait for the high tide of the Blood River. At that time they would not be able to obtain the Blood River Red Lotus, and would have to work hard in vain. At worst they would lose their lives. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, what do you think? Jia Lingwei looked at Yan Ji. Yan Ji spoke without hesitation. I want to go and see where senior apprentice Brother Cheng is. If possible, I want to form a team with senior apprentice Brother Cheng. I also want to form a team with senior apprentice Brother Cheng. Zhang Sun Yen quickly spoke up. She was afraid that Jia Lingwei would not form a team with Ning Cheng. Jia Lingwei, on seeing this, apologetically spoke to Cheng Yixiao. Senior apprentice Brother Cheng, senior apprentice Brother Xiao Ning has already saved us twice. My thoughts are similar to junior apprentice Sister Ji's. I want to find senior apprentice Brother Xiao Ning to form a team. Cheng Yixiao sighed and spoke. Actually, I also want to form a team with elder Brother Cheng Ah, but he might not be able to bring us along. The key point is that he might be a devil cultivator. I am afraid that it might affect the Wu Nian Academy. Yan Ji sneered and spoke. If a 9-star academy was destroyed because of such a small matter, then the existence of this 9-star academy would not have any meaning. Cheng Yixiao, on hearing Yan Ji's words, sighed and spoke. Junior apprentice Sister Ji's words are reasonable. For an academy to be able to stand tall for such a long time, there is indeed a reason for its existence. But now it is different. Now the Yixing mainland's 9 continents academies and the Yixing Ocean are at peace. Not only that, the two sides are also cooperating. If some of the enemies found an excuse for some of the academies, they would even pull in the cultivators from the Yixing Ocean to attack them. If I were not the son of Cheng Yishui, I would rather break away from the Wu Nian Academy and make friends with a hero like Cheng Xiaoning. Ning Cheng was in a good mood. He already knew where the Blood River Red Lotus grew. The Blood River Red Lotus grew on the summit of the Blood River Peak, and if one wanted to collect the Blood River Red Lotus, one would have to climb up the Blood River Peak. The suction force above the Blood River was very strong. If one were to fly above the Blood River, they would be sucked into the Blood River if they were not careful. This would be somewhat difficult for the others, but Ning Cheng was not worried about it. His twin heavenly cloud wings would help him solve this problem. If Yan Ji and the others knew that Ning Cheng intended to use his twin heavenly cloud wings to collect the Blood River Red Lotus, they would definitely come out to stop him. Unfortunately, they did not know that Ning Cheng had actually collected the first pair of Blood River Red Lotuses through the twin heavenly cloud wings. The Blood River Red Lotus appeared in pairs. They were incomparably beautiful. The lotus leaves were red like a maple leaf, while the lotus flowers were a rose red and exuded a faint fragrance. At this time, Ning Cheng was surrounded by a group of Blood River otters at the edge of the Blood River Peak summit. This group was different from the Blood River otters that Yan Ji and Jia Lingwei had encountered before, as the Blood River otters surrounding Ning Cheng had already sprouted a pair of wings, which completely locked Ning Cheng in all directions. Chapter 212. Senior apprentice Sister Lingwei, why did you also come here? Taking advantage of the gap between Yixiao and Yan Ji, a few more people came over. The one who asked the question was Nailin Rushue, who was walking in the middle. She was accompanied by 4 male cultivators and a female cultivator, all of whom were from the Wu Nian Academy's team. Zhang Sun Yen gave a snort, while Yan Ji did not even bother to say a single word. Only Jia Lingwei smiled and spoke. We are also here to look for the Blood River Red Lotus. What a coincidence. Cheng Yixiao knew that the Lu continent's twin lotus flowers did not have a good relationship with each other. As such, he quickly spoke up. You came just in time. The Blood River Red Lotus is something that a person would find very difficult to collect. As such, we should form a team. As for the collected Blood River Red Lotus, everyone would distribute it according to their contributions. Now everyone should come with me to that side. I saw that elder brother Cheng is also going there. After saying that, he turned into one of the forks. Seeing Cheng Yixiao taking the lead, the rest of the people followed suit one after another. Even Yan Ji also followed suit. Senior apprentice Brother Cheng, are you talking about that devil cultivator Cheng Xiaoning? Nailin Rushue whispered in Cheng Yixiao's ear. Humph, You are a devil cultivator. Zhang Sun-yen finally could not bear it, and spoke out against Nalan Rushua. Blood River Red Lotus? Before Cheng Yixiao could reply, several people simultaneously called out. Both of the Blood River peaks in front of them had Blood River Red Lotuses, and each peak had a pair of Blood River Red Lotuses. These lotuses were incomparably tender and beautiful, which made people want to rush up and dig out the pair of Blood River Red Lotuses. Although the Blood River Red Lotus grew in the Blood River peaks of the Blood River Mountains, but everyone knew that not every Blood River peak had a Blood River Red Lotus. After so many years of collection, the number of Blood River Red Lotuses was decreasing day by day. Although some of the peaks of the Blood River Red Lotuses would grow again after being collected, but it was an incomparably long process. The people here will be divided into 2 teams. 2 of you will follow behind me to block the Blood River Otters, while the rest of you will go to the other Blood River peak. As Cheng Yixiao finished speaking, he immediately took the lead and rushed towards one of the Blood River peaks. The path between the Blood River peak and the Blood River was very narrow, so not many people could go up at once. His team, plus Nalan Rushua's group of 5, already had a total of 6 people. Cheng Yixiao, along with 2 late-stage profound congealing cultivators, rushed up one of the Blood River peaks, while another early-stage profound core cultivator, along with the other 2 people, rushed up the other Blood River peak. It was quite normal for Jia Lingwei and the other 2 to not be able to keep up, as they had not agreed to form a team with Cheng Yixiao. After seeing the Blood River Red Lotus, he couldn't immediately form a party, right? However, Nalan Rushua did not follow them to help collect the Blood River Red Lotuses, which made the Yen-Ji trio unable to understand what was going on. Senior Apprentice Sister Ji, although I do not care about what you think of me, but the 2 of us are often mentioned by others. Moreover, we are both from large academies. If Rushua has done something wrong, I apologize to you here. Also, Junior Apprentice Sister Yen, I don't know why you also have a problem with me, but I hope that you can explain it clearly so that I can understand what is going on in my heart. After the few of them went to collect the Blood River Red Lotus, Nalan Rushua calmly looked at the Yen-Ji trio and spoke. Her tone was flat. It was obvious that she did not really want to apologize, but rather she felt that Yen-Ji, as a senior apprentice sister, did not have the demeanor of a senior apprentice sister. The way she spoke and the way she acted were all filled with a trace of childishness. They were the Lu continent's twin lotus flowers on one stalk, and were often talked about by others. Once something happened, perhaps it would spread out that the 2 academies were not on good terms with each other. I have a problem with you. The Wu Nian Academy has such a big reputation, but I am not a member of the Wu Nian Academy, so why must I be nice to you? Zhang Sun-yen was already suppressing her anger. Now that Nalan Rushua had come to her door, how could she let it go? Nalan Rushua was obviously a lot more tolerant than Zhang Sun-yen, as her tone was still very calm. The Wu Nian Academy is a 9-star academy. It is not something that I said. As for the matters of the Wu Nian Academy, it is something that the academy's elders and the academy head should worry about. It has nothing to do with a small disciple like me. Besides, I also did not ask you to be nice to me. Although I, Nalan Rushua, am not a great person, but I will not take the initiative to put a warm face on a cold butt. Seeing that Jia Lingwei was about to speak, Zhang Sun-yen spoke up without any trace of politeness. I am not convinced that you borrowed a knife to kill people and even went to plot against senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng. Senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng risked his life to save you, but not only are you not grateful, but you even plotted against him and even slandered him. Is this something that you, a person from a 9-star academy, would do? Didn't he just touch your chest? That senior apprentice brother Ning Cheng also touched my chest. Did you see that I did not call out to plot against him? Not to mention me, even if it was senior apprentice Sister Ji and elder Sister Lingwei's chest, did you see them clamoring to plot against him? Are your breasts worth so much? Are they not made of flesh? Are they made of best quality spirit stones? Nalan Rushua stared at Zhang Sun-yen in shock. Although Zhang Sun-yen was very young, but the way she spoke could not be so irresponsible. Moreover, the way she spoke was completely different from when she had first met Zhang Sun-yen. Seeing Jia Lingwei looking at her speechlessly, Zhang Sun-yen knew that she had slipped up, and had even mentioned Ningqing out. Fortunately, this Nalan Rushue did not necessarily know that Cheng Xiaoning was Ningcheng. Originally this matter was already over, but now that Zhang Sun Yan mentioned it again, Yan Ji's face suddenly turned red. Jia Lingwei suddenly broke this extremely awkward atmosphere and spoke, "Junior apprentice Sister Rushue, that Ningqing, you really misunderstood him. You should have been saved by him. Yan is just a straightforward person, I hope you don't mind her." She was very depressed in her heart. How long had Zhang Sun Yan followed Yan Ji? Her words were just too outspoken. Nalan Rushue was surprised as she spoke those two words, but she did not have time to speak more, when Yan Ji suddenly rushed towards a blood river peak in the distance. "It's Big Brother Ching?" Zhang Sun Yan cried out in alarm. She hastily brought out her magical weapon to rush over. Ningcheng was surrounded by an inexhaustible number of blood river otters, and in desperation, he could only bring out his true cosmic devil axe. As soon as the true cosmic devil axe's axe line was brought out, it immediately aroused the demonic aura that filled the sky. Originally, there were countless blood river peaks here, and each of the blood river peaks had a blood river surging over them, giving off a sound that shook the heavens. Wanting to discover that Ningcheng was fighting with the blood river otters on top of an inconspicuous blood river peak was something that was very difficult to do. Now that Ningcheng brought out his true cosmic devil axe, even if he did not want to be discovered, it would be very difficult. Jia Lingwei grabbed Zhang Sun Yan and spoke, Yan, are you crazy? You are only at the early stages of profound congealing realm. Do you want to court death by going up? I will go over, you and Rushue can wait for us here." Zhang Sun Yan immediately sobered up. Her cultivation was simply too low. Even if she went up she would not be able to help. But she immediately thought that Jia Lingwei's true essence had long since dried up and quickly spoke up, "Senior apprentice Sister Lingwei, you also cannot go up, your true essence has already dried up and has not yet fully recovered. There is no need to go up." Jia Lingwei stared blankly at the distant Blood River Peak surging with water. She knew that the Blood River Peak was already at high tide. If she went up now, it would definitely be too late. "Senior apprentice Sister Ji." Zhang Sun Yan cried out in alarm. They found that Yan Ji, who had rushed out before, had already disappeared. When Ningcheng was forced to bring out his true cosmic devil axe, he knew that he had to retreat. The surrounding aura of the blood river was surging. It should be the high tide soon. Ningcheng was ready to wait for the blood river's tide to pass, then it would not be too late to start. The axe line's berserk killing intent swept out. Even if those blood river otters were able to fly, under this kind of berserk killing intent, they simply did not have the ability to resist, and were instantly killed by the axe line. After Ningcheng chopped out with his axe, he simultaneously retreated. He knew that if he continued to go up when the tide was at high tide, even if he had the twin heavenly cloud wings, it would only be courting death. With a flap of the twin heavenly cloud wings, Ningcheng glided over the top of the blood river. A powerful suction force came from the bottom of the blood river. It seemed as if it wanted to suck Ningcheng into the blood river. Ningcheng was not worried. He just increased the frequency of his twin heavenly cloud wings. He already knew that flying over the blood river would produce a powerful suction force, but he only needed to increase the frequency of his twin heavenly cloud wings. But this time the suction force was like a broken dam as it rushed towards Ningcheng's body. Ningcheng's heart immediately sank. He knew that his understanding of the Blood River Mountains was not correct. This suction force was more than 100 times stronger than before, not to mention that he crazily fanned the twin heavenly cloud wings. Even if he desperately fanned the twin heavenly cloud wings, he would not be able to block this kind of terrifying suction force. Boom! A huge wave of the blood river rushed over. This wave directly swept away Ningcheng, who was being sucked down by the blood river. Yan Ji at this time had just rushed to a place close to Ningcheng. She knew that the blood river's tide had begun to rise. At that moment she saw Ningcheng being swept away by a huge wave of the blood river. Not waiting for her to panic, the next wave had already rushed towards her position. Chapter 213. Ningcheng had already heard that the water of the blood river was extremely corrosive. Now that he had nowhere to escape, his first reaction was to enter the mysterious yellow bead. But at the moment when the waves came crashing down, Ning Cheng did not enter the mysterious yellow bead, rather he used his true essence to prop up a shield. Once the true essence shield could not withstand the blood waves, he would then enter the mysterious yellow bead. This Blood River Mountains had many disciples from the major academies. Once the mysterious yellow aura was exposed, he would definitely be guessed. Although he was a devil cultivator, but his reputation was not good. In the absence of benefits, he would not take the initiative to attract the attention of some powerhouses. But if he exposed the mysterious yellow bead or the mysterious yellow origin aura, then even if he escaped to the ends of the earth, there would still be people chasing after him. More importantly, he did not know if he could enter the mysterious yellow bead, but the true essence shield would definitely be able to support it. What made Ning Cheng feel relieved was that the water of the Blood River did not seem to be much different from ordinary river water. Besides the fishy smell, everything else was the same. He was able to support a true essence shield in the water when he was at the early stage essence building realm, but now his cultivation was more than 100 times stronger than before. Even if the true essence shield was impacted by the blood waves, it would not have much effect on it. Feeling the blood-red waves flowing outside, Ning Cheng's mind was actually thinking about something completely unrelated to the outside world. Being washed into the blood river did not seem to be a great thing, even if the blood river was very corrosive, but if the true essence shield could block the blood river, then what kind of threat would it pose to the cultivators entering the law's way? Why did Zhang Sunyan make it sound so terrible? She said that once he was swept away by the blood river, then even his bones would not be left behind. Even if he was swept away by the blood river, wouldn't his bones not be left behind? Something that could be blocked by just a true essence shield. Ning Cheng believed that the cultivators who fell into the blood river would also be able to do the same. Under the tumbling of the blood river, Ning Cheng could only feel himself being dragged down. Once he resisted and tried to force his way up, then there was a possibility that the shield would be torn apart. But if he continued to tumble down, then the force on the shield would be small and would not break. Ning Cheng was a bit depressed in his heart. If he had known earlier, then he would have asked about it clearly. The suction of the whirlpool in the blood river was also divided into strong and weak, so he was not able to collect a pair of blood river red lotuses, but he was brought to the bottom of the blood river. Not knowing for how long, Ning Cheng felt as if his surroundings had become empty as his feet finally touched the ground. The suction force and the waves of the blood river had completely disappeared, and there was only black sand under his feet. The small ones were the size of peas, while the big ones were the size of fists. What surprised Ning Cheng was that this place was incomparably empty. Even his spiritual consciousness could not find the edge of this place. Moreover, what was even more frightening was that there was no spiritual chi in this place at all. It was not that the spirit chi was thin, but that there was no spirit chi at all. It was even worse than the cultivation environment on Earth. The light in the surroundings was also dark red, as if it was reflected by the color of the blood river. It seemed lifeless. Ning Cheng carefully took a few steps forward and found some bones under his feet, along with some fragments of magical weapons. Ning Cheng's heart suddenly sank. He had already imagined such a scene in his mind. Falling into the blood river was actually the same as being teleported here. However, there was no spirit chi here, no living beings, no way out, not even sound. In a place like this, there was no other way but to die. Even if he didn't die, he would go crazy. No wonder Zhang Sunyan said that the corrosive nature of the blood river was very strong. Perhaps all the people who fell into the blood river would be transferred here, and then in this place where there was no spiritual chi and no way out, they would slowly wait for their death. Not even a single person would be able to come out. Ning Cheng looked up at the sky. It was still covered in a dark red color. He simply could not know what was behind the dark red color. A feeling of being unable to breathe made Ning Cheng feel depressed and irritated. He had to get out of here. Otherwise, he would rather die in this place. Zhang Sunyan stared blankly at the blood river that was still rolling in the distance as she screamed out in alarm. It was only after a good while that she muttered, "Big brother Ning is gone? Elder sister Ji is also gone." The relationship between Nalan Rushue and Yen Ji was just ordinary, So when Yanji disappeared in the middle of the blood river, she did not have the same kind of sadness that Zhang Sun Yan had, rather she asked in a puzzled manner, "Big brother Ning? Is it Qing Xiaoning?" She saw that Yanji was going to save someone, so she asked about it, but after she asked, she felt that something was wrong. Sure enough, Jia Lingwei sighed and said, "Qing Xiaoning is Ning Cheng, he is the person who saved you." What? Naylan Rushue exclaimed, and then immediately spoke, "How is this possible?" Ning Cheng at that time only had the cultivation of essence-building realm, but Qing Xiaoning he could already. Naylan Rushue did not continue, as she thought of the connection between Ning Cheng and Qing Xiaoning. Before, if she did not know that Qing Xiaoning was Ning Cheng, then she would not have thought anything about it, but now that she heard that Qing Xiaoning was Ning Cheng, she immediately became aware of the many similarities between them. If Qing Xiaoning was really Ning Cheng, then when he said that he had saved her from the hands of two profound congealing cultivators, it would not be strange at all. Thinking that Qing Xiaoning was able to deal with dozens of profound core cultivators by himself, and was still able to escape unscathed, even if his cultivation was only at the essence-building realm, how could he be afraid of two puny profound congealing cultivators? Thinking of the extremely flat tone that Ning Cheng had used to explain himself, Naylan Rushue did not dare to believe that it was true, as she subconsciously spoke up, "If he was really wronged, then he should have desperately tried to explain himself to me. Why was his tone so flat? Moreover, did he not even care if I believed him or not?" Zhang Sun Yan's eyes were a bit red, and even more ruthlessly spoke, "Big brother Ning simply does not care about your gratitude. Do you think that he was trying to coerce you into repaying your kindness? You are looking at the wrong person. Do you think that you are very beautiful? Elder sister Ji is much more beautiful than you. If Big brother Ning wanted to like someone, then he would definitely like elder sister Ji." Jia Lingwei waved her hand at Zhang Sun Yan and spoke, Yan, don't speak like that." Rushue did not mean it. At that time it was normal for her to be misunderstood. "Rushue, can you explain the situation at that time? Let me see what exactly was going on?" At this time Naylan Rushue's mind was bursting with bursts of explosions. If Ning Cheng was really the person who had saved her, then as Ning Cheng had said, to say that she was ungrateful was simply too light. The truth behind this was something that only she understood. Ning Cheng had said that because she was ungrateful, he had wasted a life-saving magical weapon. Now that she thought about it, Ning Cheng's life-saving magical weapon was definitely that escape talisman. Thinking about it a moment ago, if Ning Cheng had this kind of talisman, then would he have been swept away by that blood wave? Naylan Rushue no longer had that kind of calmness and self-confidence from before, as she spoke in a somewhat bewildered manner. "At that time there was an accident in the Angry Axe Valley. I was sent out from the Angry Axe Valley, but just as I landed, I was attacked by someone and fainted. Even as to who attacked me, I did not see it. I guess it should have been done by an acquaintance of mine from the Angry Axe Valley. Later when I woke up, I saw Ning Cheng pressing his hand on my chest." Naylan Rushue did not need to say anything. Jia Lingwei and Zhang Sun Yan already knew about it. Originally she had always regarded Ning Cheng as a pervert. Naylan Rushue had never thought of any other reason. But now that she started to doubt it, she suddenly felt that there were a lot of doubts in this matter. Jia Lingwei sighed and said, "I know about the matter in the Angry Axe Valley. After the accident, the location of the transmission was very messy. What I want to ask you is, when you woke up, how long had it been since you came out of the Angry Axe Valley?" "It seems like a few days." Naylan Rushue's face turned pale. Jia Lingwei did not speak again, but Naylan Rushue already understood. If Ning Cheng really wanted to do something to her, then how could he wait until she woke up? During the few days that she was unconscious, even if he did it 100 times, it would not have been enough. But the fact was that she was safe and sound, her body was not violated at all. "Senior apprentice Sister Lingwei." Naylan Rushue's words were a bit dry. She suddenly felt that she was very shameless. She could imagine when Ning Cheng was speaking to her, in his heart, he despised her as a woman. Fortunately, Master Shu did not kill Ning Cheng, but thinking that Ning Cheng had used up the escape talisman, which led to him being swallowed up by the blood river, it showed that Ning Cheng had also died in her hands. Jia Lingwei patted Nalan Rushue's arm and spoke. Junior apprentice Sister Rushue, Ning Cheng is in trouble, you owe him, as such there is no use in feeling guilty about it. Ning Cheng had initially rescued you from the hands of those two profound congealing cultivators. If you know about them, then go and see if those two profound congealing cultivators were killed by Ning Cheng. If not, then you can help him kill them in the future. Moreover, there is also the matter that Ning Cheng has not completed. In the future you can help him with it, and make up for your unintentional mistakes. In fact, it is not only you, don't you also owe Ning Cheng? I only know that one of them is called Si Kong Kai. Nalan Rushua's mind went blank as she spoke. She suddenly did not know what she should do next. Si Kong Kai? I know this person. Cheng Yixiao's hearty voice arrived. He was in a good mood, as he had already collected a pair of Blood River red lotuses. Hey, junior apprentice Sister Zhang Sun Yen, what's wrong with you? Where's junior apprentice Sister Ji? Cheng Yixiao soon felt that the atmosphere was not right. Zhang Sun Yan's eyes were red, but Yan Ji had already disappeared. Jia Lingwei spoke with a sad tone. Junior apprentice Sister Ji has been swept away by the Blood River? Cheng Yixiao's mouth opened wide, and only after a good while did he speak to himself. What the hell is going on? Jia Lingwei had no choice but to speak about the matter of Yan Ji going to save Ning Cheng. Hearing that Ning Cheng and Yan Ji had been swept away by the Blood River, Cheng Yixiao gave a long sigh, as he gave a deep bow towards the Blood River peak where Ning Cheng had been swept away and spoke, Elder Brother Cheng, whether or not you are a devil cultivator, you are the role model for this Cheng Yixiao to follow. Please accept this Cheng Yixiao's bow. Seeing Cheng Yixiao bow, the two cultivators behind Cheng Yixiao also cupped their fists and bowed in respect. Their lives were saved by Ning Cheng. Now that Ning Cheng had fallen, it was only right and proper for them to pay their respects to Ning Cheng. Jia Lingwei and Zhang Sun Yen, the two of them also bowed towards the Blood River peak where Ning Cheng was located. Only Nalan Rushue was completely at a loss. Jia Lingwei on seeing this gave out a dark sigh in her heart. She knew that Nalan Rushue would not be able to solve this knot in her heart, and would only be able to reach the profound congealing realm in the future. Seeing the other three people in the distance also collecting the Blood River red lotuses, Jia Lingwei was just about to propose to leave, when she suddenly heard Nalan Rushue ask, Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng, I would like to ask, how did you know Si Kong Kai? Who is this Si Kong Kai? Cheng Yixiao pondered for a moment before replying, I met Si Kong Kai at an auction. At that time he was together with his Dao companion. His Dao companion was Hang Jiao, who was on the same airship as us. At that time I was still at the intermediate stage profound congealing realm. As for his origins, I am not clear. Hearing that Hang Jiao was Si Kong Kai's Dao companion, Nalan Rushue was completely stunned, as she came to a complete understanding. Chapter 214. Ning Cheng once again wandered around for 7 or 8 days. He once again met 5 or 6 similar cultivators. All of them were emaciated, but all of them were in the same state, studying array formations. Just when Ning Cheng felt that it was strange, his spiritual consciousness unexpectedly swept towards a cultivator. Just like him, a cultivator walking through the black sand. Looking at the actions of that cultivator, Ning Cheng was sure that the other party's attainments in array formations should be higher than his own. At least that cultivator already knew that this place was an array formation. If he wanted to get out of this place, then he must first figure out this array formation. However, Ning Cheng's heart quickly turned cold. This person was dressed in rags, looking even more sloppy than the most sloppy beggar on the street. Not only that, but his body was as thin as a bamboo pole. If Ning Cheng had not seen a storage ring in his hand, he would have really suspected that this person was not a cultivator. The current Ning Cheng was exactly the same as the cultivator he had seen a moment ago, walking while gesticulating, while at the same time muttering a few words. Ning Cheng's idea was good, but he forgot that a lot of people who took drugs had the same idea. They all thought that they were stronger than others, and could free themselves at any time. In fact, they all overestimated themselves. It was as if he had not heard Ning Cheng's question at all. While walking barefoot, he kept muttering. Ning Cheng had already been walking in this empty and silent black sand for 2 hours. But under his feet, other than bones and the wreckage of magical weapons, there was nothing else. Within the range of his spiritual consciousness, Ning Cheng simply took out a chair and sat down. In this way, Ning Cheng continued to deduce one array formation after another, as the number of array formations in his mind grew more and more, and the array formations also grew bigger and bigger. These array formations seemed to have been drawn out in his consciousness, one after another, as they went on and on. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was constantly searching for information from the surroundings, while at the same time constantly deducing and simulating one new array formation after another. Ning Cheng randomly thought about it. Maybe one day he would also become one of the bones here, and then someone would take out a chair and sit on top of his bones. One by one, the array formations began to link up in Ning Cheng's mind, causing this vast and empty land of sand to gradually form a miniature within Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness. Even if Ning Cheng explained it to her, would she believe it? In fact, Ning Cheng's explanation in the Dragon and Phoenix Academy was already very clear. As such, she had never believed a single word spoken by Ning Cheng. If Ning Cheng had stood at the entrance of the canyon and said that he wanted to completely uproot the blue stone doors and kill all the profound core cultivators blocking his way, would she have believed it? Junior apprentice Sister Rushue, are you all right? Cheng Yixiao saw that Nalan Rushue's complexion seemed to be a bit strange, as he quickly asked. However, when he had completely deduced this confinement array, he realized that in order to open this confinement array, he had to first unlock another concealment array. Ning Cheng soon discovered that as long as he flew higher than a certain height, he would immediately be suppressed. And no matter how long he flew, the environment was the same deathly stillness. After flying for 10 days, Ning Cheng finally put away the flight-type magical weapon. He felt that something was not right. Even if this place was huge, even if he flew continuously for 10 days, it would still be impossible for it to be endless. Ning Cheng was ecstatic as he immediately stimulated the twin heavenly cloud wings and rushed forward. Under the boundless sands, there was nothing but emptiness all around. He was sitting in the middle of the sands. If he were to draw a picture, would it also become a work of art? Senior apprentice Brother Cheng, I want to ask you a favor. Nalan Rushue suddenly spoke to Cheng Yixiao in a solemn voice. Cheng Yixiao did not understand what Nalan Rushue meant, but he was a forthright person, not to mention a junior apprentice sister from the same academy. Even if an ordinary person asked him to do something, he would also help them. Junior apprentice Sister Rushue, please speak freely. We are all disciples of the Wu Nian Academy. What is there to ask? If I can help you, then I will definitely help you. Big Brother Ning said that sometimes what you see with your own eyes is not necessarily the truth. I never understood this truth before. It was only after Big Brother Ning told me that I came to know. Sure enough, what you see with your own eyes is not necessarily the truth. She had personally seen Ning Cheng telling Hang Jiaojia to fuck off, causing her to feel disgusted in her heart. As such, she took the initiative to help Hang Jiaojia. But the fact was, Ning Cheng knew that Hang Jiaojia was a nefarious cultivator. As such, he was helping her. Nalan Rushue immediately gave a start. As she sobered up, what was she thinking? Was this the time to compare himself with Yanji? Immediately Ning Cheng shook his head. Perhaps he had not reached the end of his lifespan and had already gone crazy. Looking at this person gradually walking away while talking to himself, he did not continue to follow this person. He knew that this person had been studying array formations for a long time and had already turned crazy. What was different from the other cultivators who were trying to deduce array formations was that the eyes of other people who were trying to deduce array formations were getting dimmer and dimmer, and finally even turned turbid. But his eyes were getting brighter and brighter. Moreover, from the first month since he came here, he had been constantly throwing out array flags. Without array flags, he could casually refine one out. No wonder Ning Cheng, who had disguised himself as Cheng Xiaoning, had called out to Hang Jiaojia to get lost. She could easily guess that Ning Cheng had saved her from the hands of Sikong Kai and Hang Jiaojiao. Ning Cheng did not know what he should do at this moment, not to mention that he was not in the mood to cultivate. Even if he was in the mood to cultivate, he would not dare to cultivate. He was a cultivator, and there was no spiritual chi in this place. Once his spirit stones ran out, what would he do? Fortunately, the mysterious yellow bead was a good fortune object, and the mysterious yellow origin was an origin aura. Even if Ning Qing used up his brain, as long as he was not a lamp without oil, the mysterious yellow origin would be able to barely help him support himself. In terms of deduction ability and computing ability alone, it could be said that no one in the entire I Xing mainland could compare to Ning Qing. At this moment, his brain was like a top-notch computer running at high speed. The various positions of the confinement array formation, as well as the positions of the various formations, were quickly figured out by him. Moreover, in that cabin hall, not only did she not help her savior Ning Qing, but instead helped Hang Jiaojiao. If she behaved like this, then it could be estimated that in Ning Cheng's eyes, she would not even be a scum. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years passed by. The ability to calculate and the ability to remember were the two main elements of array formations, and he just happened to have both of them. What's more, he also had the mysterious yellow origin. Presumably, with the help of the mysterious yellow origin, he would not fall into a state of mental confusion, right? Senior apprentice Sister Rushue, I used to hear others say bad things about Big Brother Ning, and misunderstood him. But after being together with him, I came to understand that he really is not the kind of person that others said, please believe in Big Brother Ning. At that time, maybe it was because of some other reason that made you misunderstand Big Brother Ning. After hesitating again and again, Ning Cheng decided to start deducing this array formation. He added a restriction to himself. Once he fell into it, he had to quickly stop deducing and wait until his mind was clear, then he would continue deducing. There might be some cultivators here who had a higher level of array formation than him, but Ning Cheng believed in his deduction ability. He believed that as long as he had enough time, his level of array formations would definitely rise. Ning Cheng walked a little closer and finally heard what the cultivator was saying. The encirclement occasional wind, the shape is sharp, the first benefit is the guest, the color is dark red, it is the sun. Ring cloud array, the clouds are attached to the sky, the red is the vibration. At this time, Ning Cheng had also turned into a disheveled-haired, ragged cultivator, but he was still deducing the array formation. During this period he would pass by some cultivators, but no one cared about him, and he also did not care about others. She once again remembered the words that Yu Ying had said to her. But if he did not find the exit of this array formation, then he would have to stay in this place forever. Ning Cheng was a grade 3 array formation master. As such, when he heard those words, he immediately understood that this person was studying array formations. In the past few years, only Gray Toot Toot had been loyally following behind Ning Cheng. Even if Ning Cheng gave him a lot of pills, Gray Toot Toot had no choice but to eat them sparingly. In this place, if there were no pills, then it would directly starve to death. Perhaps he could continue to practice alchemy, but even if he continued to practice alchemy, it would not be of any use. If he finished refining the spiritual grasses, then what would he do? Besides, if he could not go out, then what was the use of practicing alchemy? Go into seclusion? He only had 5 million spirit stones on him. These spirit stones for him would soon be used up. Senior apprentice Sister Rushue, you must have misunderstood Big Brother Ning. Big Brother Ning is not that kind of person. I and Big Brother Ning have lived in the same house for a year. As such, I am the clearest about what kind of person he is. If he was that kind of person, then I would have already been. This friend, may I ask if you were also sucked into the Blood River Maelstrom? Ning Cheng had not yet arrived in front of this cultivator when he immediately called out in an excited voice. I had previously fallen into the hands of Hang Jiaojiao and Si Kong Kai and was almost destroyed. That Hang Jiaojiao also came to the law's way. I would like to ask Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng to come across Hang Jiaojiao. If you can restrain her, then let me ask her a few questions. Nalan Rushue bowed and requested. Ning Cheng was in such a situation. As soon as he entered the state of deducing the array formation, his consciousness immediately manifested a confinement array formation. When this array formation appeared in Ning Cheng's consciousness, it gave Ning Cheng a kind of feeling, that is, as long as he could deduce this array formation, then he would be able to get out. 3 months passed by. At the same time, he also came to understand his current position. He was definitely in the middle of an array formation. This array formation might be a natural array formation. If one day he could figure out this array formation, then he might be able to get out. If he was unable to figure out this array formation, then he would be just as pitiful as that person who had just passed by. Cheng Yixiao raised his eyebrows as he spoke in an angry voice. This person actually dared to lay her hands on my Wu Nian Academy's disciple, even if junior apprentice Sister Ru Xue did not say anything. If I knew about this matter, then I would never let her off. She did not believe the words spoken by Ning Cheng, but why did Yan Ji believe it? Moreover, she even took the initiative to stand up and help. Was the disparity between her and Yan Ji really so far? Maybe I can stay here for another 200 or 300 years. Ning Cheng muttered to himself. The maximum lifespan of a profound congealing cultivator could be up to 400 years old. 1 month passed by. If not for the mysterious yellow origin aura supporting Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness, then even if Ning Cheng's ability to deduce things was countless times more powerful than others, he would not have been able to escape the fate of getting lost. The only difference was that Ning Cheng was really still deducing the array formation. He had not lost his sanity. He was not like that cultivator from before, who was only subconsciously doing it. Even if he did it for a lifetime, he would not be able to wake up. Moreover, he would also not be able to figure out the real exit of this array formation. Ning Cheng did not continue to look around. He even suspected that there was something strange about the array formation in this place. Once he fell into it, then he would not be able to extricate himself. Ning Cheng sat alone for most of the day before he put away the chair. He decided to first figure out whether this place was truly endless or not. Chapter 215. Yan Ji was sitting at the edge of a small lake in a daze. This small lake was the only place with water in this endless black sand. Moreover, it was a pool of stagnant water. Because this lake was artificially created, the water in the lake was also condensed out by everyone using a magical technique. This was the only place where people lived in this black sand. Moreover, there were at least 30 cultivators living here. Every few years, a few of them would fall, but there would always be new cultivators coming in. A place without spiritual qi, without any vitality, was enough to make people go crazy. If there was no sound, then no one would be able to live in a normal state for hundreds of years. Some of the cultivators who fell into the blood river gathered together and established a gathering place. In this place, it was not to resist other monstrous beasts and the like. Rather, everyone lived together and talked to each other. At least they could have a spiritual sustenance. All the cultivators who lived in this area were relatively rational and knew that if they relied on themselves to deduce the array formations, then they would not be able to deduce anything. Therefore, they chose to live in this place for the rest of their lives and muddle along. At least compared to falling into madness, it was much better. Yan Ji's luck was good. She and Ning Cheng had used the same method to enter this place. What was more fortunate for her was that in less than half a year, she found this place. Moreover, there was also a senior apprentice sister from the Blue Cloud Academy here. This allowed her to quickly integrate into this small circle and became one of the rational people in this black sand. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, falling into the blood river and finding this place, you are already very lucky. Don't think too much about it. Maybe one day a genius will fall here and open the array formations here, then we can all go out. You are already at the great circle of the profound congealing realm. First think of a way to advance to the profound core realm, and then slowly wait here. If our lifespan comes to an end, and we still can't go out, then it is also our fate. A woman wearing a gray robe walked to the side of Yan Ji and sat down, as she slowly persuaded her. She was the senior apprentice Sister Xiang Jilan that Yan Ji had met here. Since she fell here 100 years ago, her cultivation had not risen. At that time she was at the profound core second level, and now she was still at the profound core second level. Senior apprentice Sister Lan, when you fell here, did you regret collecting the Blood River Red Lotus? Yan Ji suddenly asked. Xiang Jilan pushed her long hair back a little as she looked at the pool of stagnant water in front of her and spoke in a leisurely manner. It would be impossible to say that I do not regret it. Every time I gather the Blood River Red Lotus, there are always a lot of cultivators who fall into this pool. No one knew when the Blood River tide would rise. Moreover, once one was sucked into the Blood River whirlpool, It would be very difficult to escape. I think all the cultivators who could enter this place are considered lucky. At the very least, they won't be corroded by the blood river. Xiang Jilan had a gentle temperament, although she had been trapped in this place for more than 100 years, but she was not anxious at all, as such her appearance did not look old at all. As she spoke till here, she gave a faint smile and spoke, "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, for you to ask me this question, is it because you regret collecting the Blood River Red Lotus?" Yen Ji shook her head and spoke, "I did not fall down because I wanted to collect the Blood River Red Lotus. I came down because I wanted to save someone, but in the end I did not manage to save that person, and ended up in this place." "Also a disciple of our Blue Cloud Academy?" Xiang Jilan immediately reacted that the person that Yen Ji had saved should be someone from the Blue Cloud Academy, otherwise she would not have taken such a big risk to save that person. "No, he and I are not very familiar with each other, but... Yen Ji really could not find the right words to describe her relationship with Ning Cheng. Xiang Jilan looked at Yen Ji in a puzzled manner for a good while before she spoke. "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, you are not very familiar with this person, yet you came up to the Blood River Mountains to save him? Alas, I really do not know what to say to you. Senior apprentice Sister Lan, it is really difficult for me to explain to you what is going on. If I have not guessed wrong, after he fell down, he certainly would not have been swept away by the Blood River. There is a 90% chance that he would be in this place, so..." Yen Ji had not even finished her words, when Xiang Jilan asked in a surprised voice, "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, you are not going to say that you want to look for this person, are you?" Yen Ji nodded and spoke, "I am going to look for him." "Are you crazy?" Xiang Jilan had such a calm temperament, but even she was somewhat speechless as she spoke. "You fell down here because of the other party. It is already a great kindness to him. Do you still want to look for him? Looking for a person that you are not familiar with? Do you know that this place is boundless? Even if you walked for a lifetime, you would not be able to reach the end? You should have seen some crazy people researching array formations. Some of them have been researching for hundreds of years, but they are still like this." Yen Ji gave a faint smile. "Senior apprentice Sister Lan, you know that my temperament is different from yours. If I were to stay here and wait for my death, I would really go crazy." "What kind of person is he?" Xiang Jilan saw Yen Ji's determination and somewhat helplessly asked. Yen Ji thought for a while before she spoke. "It is very difficult for me to think of what kind of person he is. I think that in the Yixing mainland, there are certainly not many people like him. He has saved a lot of people, but there are not many people who are grateful to him. Some people even say that he is a devil cultivator and disdain to associate with him. He has also saved me, but the reason why I admire him is not because he saved me. I have not even seen what he looks like." "You said that he is a devil cultivator?" Xiang Jilan asked in a surprised voice. Yen Ji nodded and spoke. "Others say that he is a devil cultivator, but I think that he should not be a devil cultivator. Even if he is a devil cultivator, a person like him is worthy of me saving." Xiang Jilan thought that since they could not get out of this place, it would be meaningless to talk about Yen Ji again. She sighed and spoke. "That should be a male cultivator, right? Junior apprentice Sister Ji, for you to treat a male cultivator like this, is it because you like that male cultivator?" Yen Ji was silent for a long time, before she shook her head and spoke. "No, he had changed his appearance. I have not even seen what he looks like, so there is no reason for me to like him. Besides, I have never thought of liking a person. I still want to be alone and be free. I just admire him. Of course, if I can find him here and live with him for a few hundred years, I think I would not be too lonely." Xiang Jilan did not speak again. She understood the meaning of Yen Ji's words. Falling to the bottom of the blood river, that kind of torment and unbearable suffering was not something that ordinary people could bear. Even for a quiet and peaceful person like her, she had found herself a temporary Tao companion. But her Tao companion had only accompanied her for a few decades, before he suddenly disappeared. She believed that after a long time, Yen Ji would also be like her, looking for a male cultivator to live with. Originally, she wanted to help Yen Ji introduce another cultivator here, but that cultivator was obviously good to Yen Ji. Moreover, he was also the first person here, there was no one else here whose cultivation could rise, except for him. Not only could he level up in this place, but he could also level up very quickly. When he had first come here, he was only at the profound core 1st level, but now he was already at the profound core 9th level. Xiangjilan also did not think that Yanji would want to leave this place. Yanji stood up and spoke with a smile. "Senior apprentice Sister Lan, I'm leaving." After saying that, Yanji seemed to have thought of something. She pulled off her veil and spoke. "Senior apprentice Sister Lan, if I do not come back and you have the opportunity to go out in the future, please tell the Yen clan that I have fallen in the blood river." Xiangjilan stared blankly at Yanji's appearance and only muttered after a good while, "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, you are unexpectedly so beautiful. I have never seen a woman more beautiful than you." "Junior apprentice Sister Lan, Junior apprentice Sister Ji, you are all here. My spiritual grass garden has cultivated some new spiritual fruits. I would like to invite all of you to come and have a taste." Along with the voice, a man with a medium stature strode over. This man and the somewhat pale face of Xiangjilan were different. His complexion was rosy, and his tone was filled with a strong self-confidence. It was as if he did not have even half a shred of being confined at the bottom of the blood river. "Greetings, senior apprentice brother Yushan." Xiangjilan and Yanji quickly bowed in salute. This person was called Feng Yushan, and was the male cultivator that Xiangjilan wanted to matchmake with Yanji. Feng Yushan was also one of the people in their group, and was the strongest, or at least one of the leaders. However, Feng Yushan had a good personality, and rarely used his power to oppress people. Moreover, he was especially good to her. "Junior apprentice Sister Ji." Feng Yushan was even more stunned as he stared at Yanji's face. He had never seen such a beautiful woman. Previously, when he saw Yanji's perfect figure wrapped in clothes, he knew that Yanji would definitely not be ugly, but he had never thought that Yanji would unexpectedly be beautiful to such an extent. At this moment, he already knew that the person he liked had finally appeared. Yanji was his best Dao companion. No one would be able to snatch Yanji away from his side. "Senior apprentice brother Yushan, senior apprentice Sister Lan, I'll be taking my leave. I hope to see you again." Yanji quickly bowed once again, and turned around to leave. "You can't go." Feng Yushan almost blurted out. But Yanji did not hear Feng Yushan's words at all, as she stared blankly at a distant figure in ragged clothes, with messy hair, who was slowly moving forward unsteadily. Suddenly the tip of her nose turned sour. Chapter 216. Over the past few years, Yanji had seen a lot of similar people, but when she saw this figure, she couldn't help but feel sour in her heart. Perhaps it was because she knew that this person in front of her was Ning Cheng. Behind this ragged and staggering cultivator was a puppy who was just as sluggish as him. The puppy's body was dirty, and its fur was very dry. Furthermore, the color of its fur couldn't be seen clearly. It couldn't even walk properly, but it continued to follow the people walking in front of it. What a loyal pet beast. Xiangjilan also apparently saw a person and a dog, as she spoke with a sigh. "Sigh, this man is quite wealthy. Even his pet beast has a storage ring. It's just that there are just too many of these kinds of people in this place. The only way is..." Feng Yushan had not yet finished his words, when he found that Yanji had already rushed out. Only then did Xiangjilan discover that Yanji's eyes were a little strange. She immediately came to understand, this man who was walking unsteadily was the cultivator that Yanji had wanted to save, but was not able to save. Feng Yushan could also see that Yanji had some kind of relationship with this tottering cultivator in front of him. As such, he quickly called out from behind, "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, you must not touch him." Yanji's footsteps paused as she eagerly turned around and asked, "Why?" Feng Yushan was increasingly convinced that his guess was correct. He hurriedly said, "This person should be completely trapped in the grand array we are in. Perhaps he is still subconsciously deducing the array. If you touch him now, there is only one possibility. Make him completely lose himself and never wake up again." "What should we do?" Yanji suddenly panicked. Xiangjilan walked up and asked in a soft voice, "Junior apprentice Sister Ji, is this cultivator the person you were talking about? Is he in disguise?" Yan Ji looked at Ning Cheng, who was still walking, and forced herself to calm down, nodded and spoke. Yes, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, he is that person. Senior Sister, do you have any ideas? If we let him continue like this, he'll eventually reach the point where he'll run out of fuel. Xiang Jilan was silent for a good while before she spoke up. I have also seen this kind of situation before. There are people who forcibly take away people they are familiar with, but the result was that the other party would fall into a lost state and would never be able to wake up. Senior Brother Yushan was right. I have an idea. Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, quickly say it. Xiang Jilan could not wait to ask. Set up a trapping array in front of him and let him automatically enter this trapping array. Then he would sense the trap array and begin to break it. Once he broke through this trap array, he would think that he had broken through the array. At the same time that he breaks this trap array, you can wake him up by shouting at him. This is just what I came up with. I have not tried it, so I don't know if it will work or not. Xiang Jilan replied. Yan Ji immediately spoke up. Then I will arrange this entrapment array. Xiang Jilan pulled Yan Ji back and spoke. Junior Apprentice Sister Ji, let me arrange this entrapment array. This entrapment array cannot be too bad. If it is too bad, then it would not work. I've been trapped here for more than 100 years. Although I'm not like the others, I've still studied some formations. Hearing this, Feng Yushan hurriedly said, that's a good idea. Why don't I set up the array formation? I'm a level 4 array grandmaster, that should be enough. Yan Ji quickly spoke up, many thanks Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan, but let Senior Apprentice Sister Lan arrange it. I am afraid that this array formation is too complex. Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng would not be able to break it. Yan Ji's words were completely based on a woman's intuition. She had pulled off her veil, just to let Xiang Jilan see her appearance. If Senior Apprentice Sister Lan was able to get out of this place and return to the Le Continent, then she would be able to draw out her appearance. But she did not expect that Feng Yushan would suddenly come over and also see her appearance. After Feng Yushan saw her appearance, she immediately felt that kind of desire. This kind of intuition could not be expressed in words. It was completely an innate feeling. Although he had seen her appearance before, but although there was some appreciation in his eyes, but he did not have that kind of naked desire to possess her. Feng Yushan quickly smiled and spoke. Yes, that's right, I'll help from the side. Yan Ji spoke up in a stern tone. Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan, let's let Senior Apprentice Sister Lan arrange it alone. The two of us can watch from the side. I'm afraid that if there are too many people, it would instead affect him. That's also true. Feng Yushan no longer spoke. He could see that Yan Ji was very concerned about this unkempt man in front of her. However, he did not care about it. In this place, he, Feng Yushan, was the heaven. A person who had lost his mind. How could he possibly fight against him? Xiang Jilan deliberately arranged an entrapment array formation a few hundred meters in front of Ning Cheng, but when Ning Cheng arrived in front of that entrapment array, he unexpectedly automatically took a turn, bypassing the entrapment array, and then continued to walk forward. What's going on? Xiang Jilan also did not understand as she looked at Ning Cheng's departing back. It stood to reason that the cultivators who fell into this array formation would be very confused, so how could they possibly bypass her entrapment array? But Yan Ji's eyes immediately lit up. Ning Cheng was able to bypass Senior Apprentice Sister Lan's entrapment array. It showed that he was not the same as the others, and was not the kind of muddle-headed person. She quickly spoke up, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, I know what to do. I will constantly arrange some entrapment arrays in front of him. One day he will definitely fall into the entrapment array. Although Yan Ji's words were like that, but her meaning was absolutely not like that. What she was thinking was that since Ning Cheng was able to bypass the entrapment array, it showed that Ning Cheng still had his own thoughts. She kept arranging entrapment formations, while Ning Cheng kept bypassing them. Maybe he had completely changed his way of thinking and gave up on the entrapment formations in front of him. Feng Yushan frowned. He had also thought of the same thing. This cultivator seemed different from the other cultivators who were trying to deduce the array formation. He was probably not completely lost. Yan Ji's method might really be able to wake up the cultivator who had arranged the array formation in front of him. However, he soon no longer worried about it. It was just a profound congealing 5th-level cultivator. Even if he was awakened, he could still easily kill him. Xiang Jilan at the same time came to understand. She knew what Yanji really wanted to do, and immediately spoke up in a pleasantly surprised voice. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, this friend of yours may have only been here for a very short time, as such she has not completely lost herself. I estimate that your method is feasible. Seeing that her own thoughts were already known by Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, Yanji spoke up in an embarrassed manner. Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, I'll be fine by myself. You and Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan can go back first. No need, I'll follow you. With the two of us together, we can take care of each other. I don't have anything to do when I go back. Besides, being together with you, I can also talk a lot, so I won't feel lonely. Xiang Jilan spoke without hesitation. Feng Yushan, on seeing this, spoke up, then I'll go back first. I'll come back to see you after a while. If you need any help, just contact me through the communication pearl. After Feng Yushan left, Yanji suddenly took out a spiritual fruit and handed it to Grey Toot Toot, who was following behind him, and said, "Come, you can eat this." Grey Toot Toot did not have many pills left, as such he had to save them to eat. Sometimes he would only be able to eat a single pill every few days. Moreover, he also did not know when he would finish eating his pills. Now that Yanji took out a spiritual fruit and gave it to him, it immediately squeaked a few times, as its small claws directly grabbed the spiritual fruit in Yanji's hand. However, after grabbing the spiritual fruit, Grey Toot Toot did not eat it, but rather put it into his storage ring. It seemed to know that all the things that it ate were very precious to it. What a clever companion beast! I guess that it was reluctant to eat it. Xiang Jilan spoke with a sigh. Yanji once again took out more than a dozen spiritual fruits and handed them to Grey Toot Toot. This time Grey Toot Toot swallowed one of them, and then put away the rest of the spiritual fruits. After swallowing a spiritual fruit, Grey Toot Toot's fur obviously changed from dry to a little more moisture. This spiritual beast should have been lacking something that contained moisture for a long time, as such its fur would be so dry. Xiang Jilan spoke again. What made the two people even more surprised was that Grey Toot Toot unexpectedly grabbed a pill and handed it to Yanji. It was obvious that it did not want to take advantage of people for free. What a principled and spiritual companion beast. Yanji was even more pleasantly surprised as she took the pill. In her heart she could not wait to take Grey Toot Toot for herself. Seeing Yanji take the pill, Grey Toot Toot stepped up a few steps to catch up with Ningcheng. Hey, it turned out to be a top-quality true restoration pill? This is the first time that I have seen a pill of this quality. This is definitely a first-class pill. Xiang Jilan exclaimed as she stared at the pill in Yanji's hands. Yanji could also see that the pill in her hands was of an extremely high quality. What kind of person would be able to refine this kind of pill? She was also somewhat confused. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, this friend of yours is not simple. Xiang Jilan stared at Ningcheng's back and spoke. A person who could give a top-quality pill to his companion beast to eat, it would be a strange thing for him to be simple. Yanji took out a jade bottle and put the pill into the jade bottle before putting it away. Before she spoke, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, what do you think about Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan? Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan? He is very good. The cultivators in our area have all benefited a lot from him. He is a pill master and also has a spiritual medicine garden. Moreover, every time there is a fresh spiritual fruit, he would always take it out and share it with everyone. Xiang Jilan blurted out. Yanji was silent for a moment before she spoke. Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, in addition to you and me, there are also 8 other female cultivators. I found that Senior Apprentice Brother Yushan and those 8 female cultivators are somewhat unclear. Moreover, Xiang Jilan sighed and spoke. You want to ask why the Dao companions of those 8 female cultivators did not say anything? In fact, this is very normal. In this place they will never be able to get out. As such, everyone is just looking for some psychological comfort. Their Dao companions are also aware that everyone is just a temporary group. As such, there is no need to care about such things. Yanji nodded and spoke. Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, I always feel that senior apprentice brother Yushan is a bit strange. No matter what happens to senior apprentice brother Cheng, I will not go back. Senior apprentice sister Lan. Xiang Jilan nodded. Junior apprentice sister Ji, I understand what you mean. The reason I propose to go with you is that I do not intend to go back. Although there are a lot of people there, but that kind of life is really not what I want. In the past, I did not even dare to think about it. Anyway, the two of us also have a companion, as such a person would not be too lonely. Besides, that puppy is really cute. Chapter 217. What Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan did not know was that as early as 3 months ago, Ning Cheng had already completely deduced the exit of this grand array. As long as he had enough materials and resources, he could leave this place at any time. At this moment, he wasn't trying to figure out how to get out of this place. Instead, he was trying to figure out how this formation was set up and then completely destroy it. With his current level of proficiency in array formations, not to mention the array formations arranged by Xiang Jilan, even if it was a rank 4 or rank 5 array formation, he would still be able to consciously bypass it. No one knew how many simulation arrays he had set up in his sea of consciousness in these 3 years. Ning Cheng's actions were indeed influenced by the array formation. If he was in a completely sober state, he would never do such a stupid thing. As soon as he found the array door, he would think of a way to leave this place. How could he waste time thinking of a way to completely break the array? With such a huge array formation in front of him, it was already a great achievement for him to be able to get out of it. However, if he wanted to completely break this array formation, then with Ning Cheng's current cultivation, it would still be a long way off. Perhaps after many years, Ning Cheng might be able to unlock this grand array, but at least for now, he couldn't do it. At the very least, he couldn't do it on his own unless his luck was really heaven-defying and he suddenly found where the core of the array was. As the day passed by, Xiang Jilan and Yan Ji tirelessly arranged a variety of array formations in front of Ning Cheng, but Ning Cheng would always bypass the array formations and continue to move forward. At this time, Gray Toot Toot had already been cleaned by Yan Ji. Gray Toot Toot could feel that Yan Ji did not have any malicious intentions towards it. As such, it suddenly rushed towards Yan Ji's buttocks and began to babble incessantly. What's the matter? Xiang Jilan looked at Gray Toot Toot in a puzzled manner and asked. I don't know either. It only called me that after I got familiar with it. It never called me that way before. Moreover, he always calls out to my back. Yan Ji also spoke out in a depressed manner. She and Gray Toot Toot were not familiar with each other, so it could be explained. Now they were already very familiar with each other, so when Gray Toot Toot called out like this, it really made her unable to understand what was going on. Xiang Jilan suddenly spoke up, This dog is very creative, you can take a look at what is going on with it. Yan Ji also had such a thought as she stared at Gray Toot Toot and spoke, What is your name? I've already given you so many spirit fruits, and I'm setting up this formation to help your master. Gray Toot Toot suddenly jumped up and bit down on Yan Ji's hind leg. Why do you bite people? Yan Ji quickly swatted away Gray Toot Toot. If not for her liking this dog, moreover it was Ning Cheng's companion beast, she would have already slapped it to death. Wait. Xiang Jilan's complexion slightly changed as she placed her hand behind Yan Ji. Yan Ji's face immediately turned red. Even if Xiang Jilan was a female cultivator, she was still not used to it. Don't move. Xiang Jilan's tone was very dignified. Hearing Xiang Jilan's unusual tone, Yan Ji did not dare to move again. After a while, Xiang Jilan put down her hand and spoke. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, there is a spiritual consciousness tag on your body. The place where the puppy bit just now is the divine sense mark. Yan Ji's expression changed. I'm in here. Who would have placed a spiritual consciousness tag on me? Xiang Jilan did not speak, as she carefully swept her body with her spiritual consciousness, but was not able to find any spiritual consciousness tags. She frowned as she spoke to Gray Toot Toot. Can you see if there are any markings on my body? Gray Toot Toot did not even look at Jilan, as he chased after Ning Cheng. Yan Ji quickly followed up and called out, Little Gray, you quickly help senior apprentice Sister Lan smell. Hearing Yan Ji's words, Gray Toot Toot reluctantly bit Xiang Jilan's shoe. Xiang Jilan's spiritual consciousness immediately fell on the place where Gray Toot Toot had bitten. After a good while, her complexion turned ugly as she spoke. Junior apprentice Sister G, my body has also been marked with a spiritual consciousness tag. But it is very difficult to recognize. If not for this puppy, even if I knew about it, it would have taken me at least a few hours to find it. Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan glanced at each other, but did not speak. The two of them did not need to say anything to know who had placed this spiritual consciousness tag on them. Junior apprentice Sister G, no matter what the person who placed the spiritual consciousness tag on us is thinking, I don't think it is a good thing for us. Xiang Jilan spoke in a worried voice. Yan Ji was a bit more decisive than Xiang Jilan. After she understood that Feng Yushan had placed a spiritual consciousness tag on them, she immediately spoke up. Senior apprentice Sister Lan, you immediately helped me cut off the piece of cloth that placed the spiritual consciousness tag. You also cut off your own and throw it here. We have to hurry. What about him? Xiang Jilan pointed at Ning Cheng. Don't worry about it too much. Yan Ji once again urged. Xiang Jilan knew that she had stayed in this place for a long time and was somewhat indecisive, but now that Yan Ji had made up her mind, she immediately cut off the piece of cloth that had the spiritual consciousness tag on Yan Ji's body. After removing the spiritual consciousness tag, Yan Ji immediately rushed in front of Ning Cheng and directly sealed Ning Cheng's 5 senses. She quickly carried Ning Cheng on her back and spoke to Xiang Jilan. Senior apprentice Sister Lan, you take Little Gray and quickly follow me. Leave the spiritual consciousness tag here. We will immediately escape. Xiang Jilan understood Yan Ji's approach. If they let it go on like this, then when Feng Yushan lost his patience, this male cultivator called Senior Apprentice Brother Cheng would be the first to suffer. Yan Ji also understood this point and simply carried this male cultivator on her back and immediately fled. Gray Toot Toot was caught by Xiang Jilan, and the two of them quickly escaped. It was not until they had escaped for a while that Yan Ji finally remembered to bring out her flight-type magical weapon. A day later, Feng Yushan arrived at the place where Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan had left the spiritual consciousness tag. His complexion was extremely ugly to look at. He looked all around and unexpectedly chose a direction to pursue. But this direction was precisely the direction that Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan had left in. Although Xiang Jilan was controlling the airship, but she was aware of what Yan Ji was doing. Yan Ji was actually helping that male cultivator to clean the dust off his body inside the cabin, although Yan Ji did not completely remove that male cultivator's clothes, but it was only a matter of time. In the end, Yan Ji would definitely strip that male cultivator naked. Xiang Jilan sighed, but it was not because of Yan Ji's actions. Rather, it was because of such an outstanding disciple of the Blue Cloud Academy, but unexpectedly could only be together with such a cultivator. It made her feel somewhat sentimental. In her opinion, if they left this place, then Ning Cheng simply would not be worthy of even a single strand of Yan Ji's hair. Yan Ji had already completely tidied up Ning Cheng's hair, and even completely removed the disguise on Ning Cheng's face. When she finally managed to shave off Ning Cheng's beard, she suddenly froze. How could he be so young? He was definitely not even 25 years old. Yan Ji had always thought that the most outstanding thing about her was not her appearance, but rather her qualifications. She was not even 24 years old and was already at profound congealing 9th level. Even in the Lu continent, there were not many of such people. But this Ning Cheng in front of her, how could he be so young? Ning Cheng's 5 senses were sealed off, but under the impact of the mysterious yellow origin, it quickly loosened up. Yan Ji did not have any murderous intent towards him, as such he had always been very calm. But at this moment, a strong sense of crisis washed over him. Ning Cheng's mysterious yellow origin instantly broke through the seal on his 5 senses. At this moment he also recovered his sanity. Yan Ji's hands had just untied Ning Cheng's clothes, when Ning Cheng suddenly sat up, while simultaneously grabbing Yan Ji's wrist. It's you. Are you awake? Ning Cheng recognized Yan Ji at the same time. Yan Ji was also pleasantly surprised to know that Ning Cheng had woken up. If she had known that Ning Cheng would wake up so easily, she would have already done it a long time ago. Ning Cheng's mind had already gone through all the things that had happened before. he was somewhat different from the others. At least he still had a clear goal in mind for what he was doing. After going through all these things, Ning Cheng quickly came to understand that it was Yan Ji who had sobered him up. "Thank you, isn't this the bottom of the blood river? Why you here?" Ning Cheng looked at Yan Ji in doubt and asked. Yan Ji spoke with joy. "I saw that you were surrounded by the blood river otters. Moreover, the tide of the blood river had also risen, so I was worried about you, so I rushed up to save you, but the result was that I could not save you, so I came here." Ning Cheng then came to understand that the reason why she came here was also because of him. He was a little embarrassed as he spoke. "I'm really sorry, I ended up delaying you for a few years." Ning Cheng's apology was genuine. These few years, he was sure that Yan Ji had been delayed. But he did not delay even a little. No one knew that at this time he was already a Tier 6 Array Formation Grandmaster. Moreover, he was only a step away from advancing to the Array Formation Grandmaster. A less than 30 years old Array Formation Grandmaster. Even in the entire Yixing mainland, it was still shocking. Yan Ji did not hear Ning Cheng's words. She did not care about it and spoke. "It doesn't matter, it is not easy to meet an acquaintance here. Moreover, we will not be able to get out of this place in the future, so I don't think there is any need to be too polite." Although Yan Ji had not thought about becoming Dao companions with Ning Cheng, but her thoughts were very simple. Since everyone was trapped in here, then there was really no need to be too polite. Ning Cheng was just about to tell Yan Ji that she could go out, when his spiritual consciousness swept towards Grey Toot Toot. He felt somewhat guilty for forgetting about Grey Toot Toot. If he had not left a storage ring for Grey Toot Toot, then perhaps Grey Toot Toot would have starved to death. "Grey Toot Toot!" Ning Cheng called out. The Grey Toot Toot's voice immediately came over, while it excitedly jumped inside. Since Ning Cheng woke up, it meant that its rations had been secured. "Is it called Grey Toot Toot? It really is very cute." Yan Ji finally knew the puppy's name. "I'll clean myself up." Ning Cheng saw that Yan Ji did not have any intention to go out, and took the initiative to speak up. Yan Ji immediately understood, and quickly left with Grey Toot Toot. Ning Cheng used several dust removal techniques to clean himself up quickly, and then changed into a clean set of clothes, before he walked out. "Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, this is the Senior Apprentice Sister that I met in here, Xiang Jilan. Originally, she was also from our Blue Cloud Academy, and has been trapped in here for over 100 years. Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, he is Ning Cheng." Yan Ji, on seeing Ning Cheng come out, quickly introduced him to both sides. Xiang Jilan also spoke in surprise. "Junior Apprentice Brother Ning, I did not expect you to be so young. To be able to study array formations in here, and still be able to wake up, you are the first one." Xiang Jilan was really surprised that Ning Cheng was able to wake up, but she also did not think that Ning Cheng would be so young. After Ning Cheng thanked Xiang Jilan, he suddenly said, "Junior Apprentice Sister Ji, did you and Senior Apprentice Sister Lan offend someone? How could there be people chasing after us?" Chapter 218. Just as Ning Cheng spoke, Xiang Jilan's spiritual consciousness was able to see Feng Yushan chasing after them. Her complexion turned somewhat ugly as she spoke to Yan Ji. "It's Feng Yushan." "Who is Feng Yushan?" Ning Cheng asked. Yan Ji, with her fastest speed, narrated the whole story. Ning Cheng, on hearing that the spiritual consciousness tag on Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan's body was found by Grey Toot Toot, immediately patted Grey Toot Toot's head to show his praise. "It looks like you still have a spiritual consciousness tag on you." Grey Toot Toot did not notice it. Ning Cheng looked at Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan and spoke. Xiang Jilan increased the speed of the airship as she sighed and spoke. "Feng Yushan's spiritual consciousness tag is extremely obscure. If not for Grey Toot Toot, I would not have been able to find it. I guess that if there was a divine sense mark, it should be on me. It was probably left on me in the past. Junior Apprentice Sister Ji, you control the airship, I will go and change all my clothes." Ning Cheng interrupted Xiang Jilan's words. "Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, I suspect that changing your clothes would not necessarily be of any use. Since you still have a spiritual awareness mark on your body, it might not necessarily be on your clothes. If it was on his clothes, then maybe Grey Toot Toot would have already discovered it. Feng Yushan is just a trivial profound core 9th level cultivator, so there is no need to worry about it. Xiang Jilan blankly stared at Ning Cheng, a mere profound core 9th level? This Ning Cheng's words were simply too irresponsible. He himself also seemed to have the cultivation of profound congealing realm. Yan Ji was able to see the surprise in Xiang Jilan's eyes, and quickly spoke up. I heard from senior apprentice sister Ling Wei that senior apprentice brother Ning was fighting against more than 20 profound core cultivators, as well as a few dozen profound congealing cultivators. In the end, he even killed all his opponents and retreated safely. Among those profound core cultivators, there are 2 profound core 8th level cultivators. Listening to Yan Ji's words, Xiang Jilan couldn't believe her eyes as she looked at Ning Cheng. If she had not seen Yan Ji first, she would have thought that Ning Cheng and Yan Ji were performing a double act. For a profound congealing cultivator, even if it was at the peak of the profound congealing realm, wouldn't it be very difficult for him to defeat a profound core 1st level cultivator? Not to mention fighting against more than 20 profound core cultivators? And there were even dozens of profound congealing cultivators? Ning Cheng quickly spoke up. I also used a broken core pearl and was lucky enough to win. Besides, these profound core cultivators did not come up at the same time, rather they came up in batches. A broken core pearl, it is simply impossible to kill so many profound core cultivators. Xiang Jilan immediately said. There are also several other means. Ning Cheng did not know how to explain it and could only speak vaguely. Even if it was just a slight difference in cultivation, it was still a huge difference. For Ning Cheng, as long as he could not block his axe line's killing intent, then there was no difference between a profound core and a profound congealing. Besides, those more than 20 profound core cultivators really did not come together, which gave him a great opportunity. In fact, the only ones who could pose a threat to him during the fight were a profound core 8th level cultivator, a profound core 7th level cultivator, and a profound core 5th level cultivator. As for the other cultivators, if they could not even block his axe line's killing intent, then they would just end up as bystanders. Xiang Jilan did not ask again. She guessed that Ning Cheng must have used an array formation. She had seen Ning Cheng's array formations with her own eyes. Although the array formations that she had arranged were not too bad, but in the eyes of Ning Cheng, who was in a trance, it was just like floating clouds. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness swept out and found that Feng Yushan was getting closer and closer. As such, he simply spoke up. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, you and senior apprentice Sister Lan should leave first. I will stay here to deal with Feng Yushan. I will catch up with you. No, we can help you. Yan Ji replied in a very straightforward manner. Xiang Jilan's complexion was a bit gloomy. She was well aware of her own situation, although she was a profound core 2nd level cultivator, but because she had not been able to cultivate for many years, her cultivation had already regressed. Once they started fighting, it would simply not be enough. It was not that she did not want to help, but she was sure that if she were to face Feng Yushan now, she would not even have the qualifications to start a fight. Who is this Feng Yushan? All the cultivators in this place were aware that he had his own secrets. His cultivation had always been on the rise. Even the 30 or so profound core cultivators living in that place did not dare to covet Feng Yushan's secrets in the slightest. This showed that all the people here were clear in their hearts, that they were far from being a match for Feng Yushan. No, once I am not a match for Feng Yushan, I have a way to escape. Moreover, I am sure that I can run faster than Feng Yushan. Although junior apprentice Sister Ji is good, but I estimate that she would not be able to contain Feng Yushan. Ning Cheng refused without hesitation. Yan Ji had not seen the scene of Ning Cheng killing dozens of profound core cultivators, but she believed that Jia Lingwei would not lie. Plus before in the Blood River Peak, when Ning Cheng had rescued her and Jia Lingwei, he seemed to have a way to move quickly. Since Ning Cheng said that he could escape, then there should be a basis for it. Thinking till here, Yan Ji nodded and spoke. Senior apprentice Sister Lan, in that case, we will go first. Ning Cheng watched Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan leave, but did not arrange any array formations. First, he thought that he would not need to arrange any array formations to deal with Feng Yushan, and second, it would be too late. Ning Cheng had just sent off Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan's airship when Feng Yushan's flight-type magical weapon landed in front of Ning Cheng. The first time he saw Feng Yushan, Ning Cheng knew that this Feng Yushan in front of him was not ordinary. At least he was different from the cultivators he had seen before. Before he met Feng Yushan, the cultivator Ning Cheng had seen in the best condition was Xiang Jilan. But Xiang Jilan's complexion was pale, and her true essence was not visible. It was obvious that she had not cultivated for a long time. But Feng Yushan's spiritual qi was contained within his body, and was no different from the cultivators Ning Cheng had seen outside. He was even more spirited. Feng Yushan was not in a hurry to chase after Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan, rather he put away his flight-type magical weapon, as he looked at Ning Cheng and spoke. "You unexpectedly woke up, it's a pity, I did not expect you to be such a young man. But you are only an intermediate stage profound congealing cultivator, do you really want to stop me?" Feng Yushan had originally calmly asked Ning Cheng, and was not even half a bit impatient, but after he asked this sentence, he suddenly remembered something. His complexion immediately changed as he anxiously spoke. "How did you wake up? Was it before you woke up, your clothes were changed and even your body was cleaned?" Ning Cheng at first did not understand why Feng Yushan would ask such irrelevant questions. Since Feng Yushan's spiritual consciousness tag was discovered, then wouldn't the first thing to do be to restrain him, and then continue to chase after Yan Ji and Xiang Jilan? Why would he care about when his clothes were changed? "Quickly answer me." Feng Yushan seemed to have no patience at all. Ning Cheng quickly understood as he gave a faint smile and spoke. "Who changed my clothes? Of course it was junior apprentice Sister Ji who helped me change them. What's wrong? Do you have any questions?" "I'll tear you apart." Feng Yushan's calm expression instantly turned ferocious, as he raised his hands and brought out a pair of yin-yang twin locks. As soon as the twin locks came out, Ning Cheng immediately knew that this pair of twin locks was at least a pair of best quality spiritual artifacts. The twin locks had not yet fully activated, when two diametrically opposite slaughter auras completely locked down the surroundings of Ning Cheng. The air around Ning Cheng at this time also turned viscous. The yin-yang twin locks obviously had not yet fallen on top of Ning Cheng's head, but the imposing manner was getting stronger and stronger, causing Ning Cheng to feel more and more oppressive. It was as if the next moment, this kind of oppression would completely tear him to pieces. Ning Cheng immediately realized that Feng Yushan's strength was far beyond those of the profound core cultivators who were trapped in the second segment of the law's way. He immediately brought out the cosmic true devil axe, and directly tore apart the two slaughter auras from the yin-yang twin locks, while at the same time bringing out the tyrannical devil axe intent. The axe intent and the yin-yang twin locks yin-yang killing auras clashed together, giving out bursts of bang-bang sounds. Devil cultivator. Feng Yushan's complexion immediately changed, as the yin-yang twin locks descended even more rapidly. The yin-yang killing auras condensed into dozens of huge gray-colored true essence balls. After Ning Cheng's cosmic true devil axe tore apart the first wave of the yin-yang twin lock slaughter auras, it directly swept up the angry axe's killing intent, bringing out a whirlpool. These axe intent whirlpools instantly collided with the gray-colored balls formed by the yin-yang twin locks. Boom boom boom. It was as if a warehouse of explosives had been set on fire, as the terrifying sounds of explosions tore apart the silence of the surroundings. In this black sandy land, the two people's true essences directly blasted out a large crater. Ka! After the killing intent and imposing manner exploded out with a loud bang, the cosmic true devil axe and the yin-yang twin locks solidly collided together. Ning Cheng was forced back dozens of steps by this kind of powerful backlash, before he was barely able to stand up. He was shocked to find that although they were both profound core cultivators, the disparity between them was like heaven and earth. In the battle just a moment ago, he was clearly at a disadvantage. Although he was fighting against Feng Yushan, compared to fighting against hundreds of cultivators who were weaker than him, the effect was completely different. A fight between cultivators was really different from a fight between ordinary people. It was not that the more people there were, the better it was. Moreover, it was also not a simple superposition effect. Although he still had a backup plan, but if he wanted to fight against Feng Yushan head-on, then he would have to rely on array formations. Since this Feng Yushan was able to stay in this place for such a long time, then his attainments in array formations would definitely not be bad. But Feng Yushan was even more horrified than Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's cultivation was indeed only at profound congealing 5th level, as such the gap between them was like heaven and earth, yet this move of his unexpectedly only caused the other party to fall slightly. If the cultivator in front of him did not have any secrets, then even if he was beaten to death, he would not believe it. The reason why he was able to live in this place until today, moreover living a very comfortable life, was because he had his own secrets. He had to take down this cultivator. As for Yanji, he was not afraid that she would be able to escape. As long as she was in this place, then this place would be his territory. Ning Cheng was just thinking of a way to get rid of Feng Yushan, when Feng Yushan waved his hand, and a human-shaped puppet with a height of more than 10 feet appeared in front of Ning Cheng. A formidable, imposing aura exuded from the body of this puppet, causing Ning Cheng to shiver. This kind of imposing aura seemed to be comparable to that of Kong Peng Peng. Was this a soul essence puppet? Ning Cheng immediately understood this was definitely a soul essence puppet. Just one Feng Yushan, he would have to scheme against him. Moreover, it would be difficult for him to deal with him. If he added a soul essence puppet, then he would not even need to fight. Go, he must go. He was not anxious to deal with Feng Yushan. One day he would definitely come back. As Ning Cheng thought till here, he directly stimulated the twin heavenly cloud wings on his back, bringing with it a ray of light. In just a twinkling of an eye he was already far away. The twin heavenly cloud wings refined from the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves? Feng Yushan's eyes were incomparably sharp. As soon as Ning Cheng's twin heavenly cloud wings flashed, he was able to clearly see it. At this moment, he was not angry at Ning Cheng for leaving, rather his eyes were filled with surprise. He had never thought that one day, he would be able to obtain the twin heavenly cloud wings. In his opinion, as long as he was trapped in this place, anything would eventually belong to him. Chapter 219. In addition to Yanji letting her imagination run wild, if Xiang Jilan could think of something like this, then Ning Cheng would certainly also be able to think of it. He decided to search for the spiritual consciousness tags on Yanji and Xiang Jilan. He believed that with his spiritual consciousness, as long as he was careful, he would absolutely not be discovered by the two of them. It wasn't that he did it on purpose, but it would be awkward if he brought it up. Thinking that Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was constantly looking at her body, Xiang Jilan's complexion also turned strange. Becoming Dao companions with someone here was more of a spiritual sustenance. Now that someone was using their divine sense to scan her body, how could she still pretend that she didn't know? For the sake of the twin heavenly cloud wings, not to mention chasing for a few years, even if he had to chase for a few decades, he, Feng Yushan, would also be able to do it. Xiang Jilan and Yanji simultaneously saw the twin heavenly cloud wings on Ning Cheng's back. At this moment Yanji finally understood why Ning Cheng was able to teleport away from the Blood River Peak. It was because Ning Cheng had obtained the twin radiant heavenly cloud leaves. Just how big of an opportunity was this? As for Feng Yushan, who was using a flight-type magical weapon, he had always been following behind them. Ning Cheng could not carry the two of them and escape forever, right? Even if Ning Cheng had the twin heavenly cloud wings, his true essence would eventually dry up. Once Ning Cheng's true essence dried up, wouldn't Feng Yushan be able to catch up with him? Yanji recovered from the initial unnaturalness. Originally, she was just letting her imagination run wild, but she did not think too much about it. Once she returned to her senses, she immediately remembered the matter of the spiritual awareness imprint. After Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness came into contact with Xiang Jilan, he was also incomparably embarrassed. He did not want to let Xiang Jilan know about it, but he also believed that he could do it. But in the end he was still discovered. Moreover, it was a collision of spiritual senses on the other party's body. If he had known that the spiritual consciousness tag would be in such an easy place to find, then Ning Cheng would definitely not have looked for it under Xiang Jilan's feet, which would have made everyone feel awkward. Xiang Jilan did not know about the origin aura, but she could feel that Ning Cheng's aura was different. She immediately understood that Ning Qing carrying her and Yan Ji running away were not the same thing at all. If the one he was holding was Ji Lufei, he would have long since used his spiritual consciousness to investigate it. No, she was different from Nailan Rushue. She would at least ask for a reason. However, that Nailan Rushue didn't even ask for a reason before starting. Ning Qing knew that Xiang Zhilan understood the gravity of this matter and should have acquiesced in his search. But Ning Qing soon felt embarrassed. This kind of scene was completely different from watching a pictorial or even watching a small movie. This was a real thing and was even sandwiched in his arms. How do you know? Yanji asked in doubt. Even if Xiang Zhilan had not cultivated for a long time, but with her cultivation, her skin was still snow white, and her body was incomparably plump. This made Ning Cheng's face turn a bit red. After all, he was just a little virgin. Ning Cheng was just like a thief. His spiritual sense was carefully moving around Xiang Zhilan's body. He was sure that Xiang Zhilan would not be able to find him. Yan Ji thought about how her mind had wandered a moment ago, and seemed to have thought about something that she should not have thought about, causing her face to turn red once again, and then she quickly changed the topic and spoke. Where should we go now? No, you do not have a spiritual consciousness tag on you, so Feng Yushan should not be able to catch up. Ning Cheng immediately replied. However, he didn't move his spiritual sense away. This kind of thing couldn't be done casually. If Xiang Zhilan was the same as that Nailan Rushue and started cursing or acting like a shrew, then Ning Cheng would rather immediately put her down and escape by himself. After determining that Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan were not paying attention to him, Ning Cheng's spiritual sense fell onto Xiang Zhilan's body. He felt that the possibility of Xiang Zhilan being tagged with a spiritual consciousness tag was much higher. After all, Yan Ji had not been here for a long time. If he could not find the spiritual consciousness tag on Xiang Zhilan's body, then he would have to look for Yan Ji's body. How could she warn Ning Cheng? This time she finally felt it. Suddenly she understood why Nailan Rushue had wanted to make a move the moment she woke up. If it was not for Ning Cheng, who she had some feelings for, and was replaced with someone else who was hugging her tightly and trying to escape, what would she think in her heart? Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness had wrapped around the spiritual consciousness tag on her body. Xiang Zhilan was very clear about it in her heart, and also felt relieved. Finally found it, otherwise that Feng Yushan would have definitely caught up with the three of them. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was very careful, and Xiang Zhilan was flying in his arms, which provided him with a lot of convenience. But after half an hour, Ning Cheng's hands trembled and almost dropped Xiang Zhilan to the ground. Moreover, his face also turned embarrassed. He did not think that while he was carefully searching Xiang Zhilan's body, Xiang Zhilan was also using her spiritual consciousness to check her body. Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan, who were still rapidly escaping on the airship, had already heard the sound of an explosion, causing the two of them to feel very uneasy in their hearts as they looked at each other, but did not know what to do. After removing the spiritual consciousness tag from Xiang Zhilan, Ning Cheng did not continue to search Yan Ji's body. He flew for a while and determined that Feng Yushan did not continue to follow them, and understood that Yan Ji's body really did not have a spiritual consciousness tag. As such, he did not need to continue to search. Feng Yushan, who was already close to them, sneered, "You think you can just walk away like this? I don't believe that you would be able to fly for a few years while hugging two people." Ning Cheng nodded and spoke, "That's right, let's go out. Although I can't completely master this array formation, but I should be able to find the exit, but I estimate that it would take about 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones. Moreover, I would also need a best quality spirit stone to activate the array door." I remember, Senior Apprentice Brother Ning, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, and I might have a spiritual consciousness tag on our bodies. If that's the case, then wouldn't it mean that Feng Yushan would be able to catch up to us wherever we go? Although Yan Ji knew that this was not the time to care about such trifles, but being hugged by Ning Cheng while flying, her heart was still thumping wildly. Strictly speaking, this was the first time that she had ever been hugged by a man like this. The last time she had also been saved by Ning Cheng, but in that short period of time, she did not feel that Ning Cheng had already let go of her. Go out? Yan Ji and Xiang Zhilan asked almost at the same time in amazement. However, The two of them were not ordinary people, and immediately understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words. Ning Cheng wanted to take them away. With the speed of the twin heavenly cloud wings, that Feng Yushan would definitely not be able to catch up to them. Ning Cheng brought out a flight-type magical weapon and spoke. Now let's first get on the airship. We will first go to a place, and then find a way to get out. This place is something that I have calculated out. I want to find something. Her body unconsciously gave rise to some shivers, and even had a somewhat shy reaction. At this moment, she could only close her eyes and retract her spiritual consciousness. Fortunately, she could feel that Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was still abiding by the rules, and did not offend her, and was truly searching for the spiritual consciousness tag. If the two of them were originally only suspicious of Ning Cheng's words, but when Ning Cheng said that he needed best quality spirit stones to activate the array entrance, the two of them completely extinguished the thought of going out. If best quality spirit stones were so easy to obtain, then they would not be called best quality spirit stones. Fortunately, after Xiang Jilan retracted her spiritual consciousness, she did not say anything. She did not even give a snort. Only her skin was still trembling, but these tremors quickly returned to their original state. A profound core 9th level cultivator with a soul essence cultivation puppet was chasing after him. If he did not do this, then would he not want to live? Ning Cheng had guessed it right. Xiang Jilan had indeed acquiesced to Ning Cheng's wanton search of her body. At the very beginning, she was still somewhat angry and ashamed, but she soon calmed down. She understood that Ning Cheng's actions were not unreasonable. On the contrary, if Ning Cheng had proposed it, and she had to agree to it, then it would have been awkward. Xiang Jilan decided to search for the spiritual consciousness tag in her body. She believed that she would eventually find the spiritual consciousness tag by herself. The twin heavenly cloud wings brought out a faint trace in the air, and in just a twinkling of an eye disappeared from where she stood. If she had known that Ning Cheng would do such a thing, then she would never have used her spiritual consciousness to investigate. This kind of thing was something that everyone did not know about, or at least pretended not to know about it. After the shyness passed, she was even more horrified. Ning Cheng's cultivation did not seem to be high. Although his spiritual consciousness was probing her body, but she was unexpectedly not even the slightest bit aware of it. Or rather, if she had not happened to sweep out with her spiritual consciousness, then she would have absolutely not been able to detect Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness. In this incomparably empty black sand field, the explosive sounds of the fight between Ning Cheng and Feng Yushan could be heard from a very far distance. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness finally settled on Xiang Jilan's left ear. The spiritual consciousness tag was placed under the skin and was incomparably obscure. With Xiang Jilan's cultivation and her previous vigilance towards Feng Yushan, it should be normal for Feng Yushan to place such a spiritual consciousness tag on her. At this time, Ning Cheng suddenly appeared on the airship and anxiously spoke. Feng Yushan has a soul essence realm puppet. I am not his opponent. Put away the airship. I will take you away from here, otherwise he will definitely catch up to us. Yanji's imagination was running wild, as she completely did not know what she was thinking. Xiang Jilan was a lot calmer than Yanji. The aura coming from Ning Cheng's body was somewhat different from other cultivators. It seemed to be an indescribably pure aura. It was like the kind of pure aura one would feel when they were just born. It was something that could not be described with words. The two people's spiritual consciousness unexpectedly collided with each other on her abdomen. Xiang Jilan's spiritual consciousness came into contact with Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness in a split second. Her body also trembled. She instantly understood the meaning behind Ning Cheng's actions. Ning Cheng wanted to find the spiritual consciousness tag on her body without her knowing about it. It should be because he was afraid that everyone would feel awkward with each other. Yanji put away the airship, and just as she held Grey Toot Toot in her hands, Ning Cheng had already wrapped his arms around her and Xiang Jilan's waist, while at the same time vigorously wielding the twin heavenly cloud wings. Xiang Jilan's heart was in a dilemma. Even if she knew that she would not be able to get out of this place, she was still a disciple of the Blue Cloud Academy. Moreover, she also knew about morality and integrity. If she reminded Ning Cheng, it would mean that she wanted Ningqing to look for the spiritual consciousness tag on her body. She and Ningqing had no relationship at all, so how could she let Ningqing do such a thing? Not to mention that junior apprentice sister Yanji treated this Ningqing differently. Xiang Jilan did not want to make Yanji embarrassed, and quickly spoke up, "I have already found the spiritual consciousness tag on my body and even removed it, you just did not pay attention to it a moment ago." Ningqing's spiritual consciousness was incomparably powerful. Since he had found Xiang Jilan's spiritual consciousness tag, his spiritual consciousness directly wrapped around Xiang Jilan's spiritual consciousness tag, while simultaneously bringing out a jade bottle. Throwing this trace of spiritual consciousness tag into the jade bottle, he sealed the jade bottle and threw it away. Listening to Ningqing's words, Yanji did not respond, but Xiang Jilan already understood. She was sure that Ningqing had also searched Yanji, but Yanji's cultivation was lower than her, as such she would absolutely not be able to detect it. Thinking about Yanji's attitude towards Ningqing, she did not think that Ningqing had done anything wrong. Since they could not get out of this place, then Yanji and Ningqing would always be together, as such using her spiritual consciousness to check Yanji's body was nothing. Chapter 220. This place is also covered in sand. What are we doing here? Xiang Jilan and Yanji were puzzled as they looked at the black sand in front of them. They did not understand what Ningqing wanted to do here. I calculated the array formation here, although I found a way to crack it, but I did not fully understand this array formation. To crack this array formation, you need to arrange the communication array flags of the entire array. These array flags have been arranged by me for the past few years. Now we just need to use the spirit stones to get out of the array formation. According to my calculations, this place should be the array formation heart. Ningqing explained. Do you really know the way to get out of this array formation? Xiang Jilan looked at Ningqing with complete disbelief, not to mention that it was impossible to obtain the best quality spirit stones. Even if he obtained the best quality spirit stones, Xiang Jilan did not believe that Ningqing would be able to break this array formation. She did not know how many cultivators were trapped at the bottom of the blood river. Moreover, there were also some amazing array formation geniuses among them. But she had never seen a person able to get out of this place, nor had she seen a person able to break this array formation. Ningqing did not speak again. It was better to do it himself than to talk. He took out more than a dozen array flags and threw them out, and then scattered some spirit stones to provide the spiritual source. After a few breaths, a black irregular door suddenly appeared in front of the three people. There is actually a hidden door here? Xiang Jilan once again spoke out in surprise, while in her heart she was already doubting whether Ningqing could really get out of this place. This door can only open for at most 10 breaths of time. Let's hurry up and go in. Ningqing spoke as he took the first step into the door. Yanji and Xiang Jilan on seeing this immediately followed. When the three people entered the door, they were suddenly stunned by everything in front of them. They had all fallen into the bottom of the blood river because of the blood river mountains. The spiritual qi at the bottom of the blood river was scarce, or rather there was no spiritual qi at all. But here there was also a long blood river. On the contrary, the spiritual qi here was extremely rich. This blood river was long and winding, and simply could not see the end of it. The blood river mountains seemed to be flowing, but there were no waves at all. What was even more amazing was that this blood river seemed to be a huge circle, and one could not see the two ends. The blood river was not wide. As they stood by the side of the blood river, they could see that the width of the blood river was not more than 10 feet. In the middle of the circular blood river, there was a black sand, and in the middle of this sand, there was a skeleton. A golden talisman floated above the skeleton. Such a big talisman! Yanji exclaimed. Ningqing had never seen such a large talisman before. This talisman had a radius of several dozen feet. Moreover, it was emitting an extremely terrifying and profound aura. If it wasn't for the blood river blocking it, they wouldn't have been able to block this aura. Why do I feel that this blood river is actually a restriction array formation? Xiang Jilan suddenly spoke after looking at it for a long time. You should be right. This blood river is definitely a restriction. Not only is the blood river a restriction, Even the Blood River Mountain outside and the Blood River Peak above the Blood River Mountain are also restriction array formations. This restriction is a natural restriction array formation. It seems to be specially made to trap this talisman. Ning Cheng spoke in a deep voice. He had been deducing array formations for decades, as such his knowledge and level regarding array formations was far from what Xiang Jilan could compare to. There seems to be words on the talisman. Yan Ji also saw it. Xiang Jilan nodded and spoke. Yes, it has the word Sky Splitter written on it. Ning Cheng spoke. I just probed it with my spiritual consciousness, although we can see the opposite side of the Blood River, but our spiritual consciousness is not able to pass through the Blood River. We can forget about crossing the river. If we cross the river, we will definitely be swept away by the Blood River. That corpse and the talisman might be a good thing. Since we can't get them, then we should hurry up and get out of here. Ning Cheng spoke while taking out a best quality spirit stone. Fortunately, I happen to be able to take out a best quality spirit stone. As for the high-grade spirit stone, you do not have to worry about it at all. Can we really get out? Yan Ji had never intended to go out, but now that Ning Cheng not only said that they could get out, but also took out a best quality spirit stone, she couldn't help but ask in a surprised tone. Ning Cheng gave an "n" sound. I guess that this array formation and even the entire Blood River Mountain was created by this talisman. Moreover, the spiritual qi from the outside is also completely absorbed by this place. To get out of this array formation is very simple, as long as we can find the array heart, which is the spiritual sacrifice of this river. It is somewhat different from ordinary array formations. How do you know that we can break this array formation in this way? Xiang Jilan blurted out. She came from an 8-star academy and had learned a lot of things, but she had never heard of a method to break an array formation using a spiritual sacrifice. Ning Cheng had to speak up. I also slowly deduced it before I scattered a lot of array flags outside. It was in order to open the door and find this place. As long as we can get here, we can use the spiritual sacrifice. If we are trapped in this place again, then as long as we have enough spirit stones, we can quickly get out. Moreover, the spiritual sacrifice is not to break the array, but rather to provide the spiritual qi of the Blood River, and then take the initiative to send us out. Yan Ji glanced at Ning Cheng, but did not speak. Although she and Ning Cheng had not been together for a long time, but that did not stop her from appreciating Ning Cheng. If she was really trapped in this place with Ning Cheng, then perhaps it would not be very difficult. But once they got out, she and Ning Cheng would at most be good friends. Although Yan Ji did not speak, it did not mean that Xiang Jilan would not consider this matter. If Ning Cheng could really bring them out, then there were some things that she had to make clear. Previously she had thought that everyone would not be able to get out, as such she thought that it would not matter if Ning Cheng saw Yan Ji's body. If they could get out now, then Yan Ji's body being seen by an outsider, it would not be a small matter. With Yan Ji's appearance and qualifications, after she advanced to the profound core realm, there would definitely be many geniuses who would go to the Blue Cloud Academy to propose marriage. She could see that Yan Ji had a good impression of Ning Cheng. Even if she had a good impression of Ning Cheng, even if she was not reserved, she would not take the initiative to look for Ning Cheng. If Ning Cheng had not seen Yan Ji's body, then it would not have mattered, although Ning Cheng was good, but Yan Ji's future was much brighter. But now it was Ning Cheng who had taken advantage of her. Yan Ji did not know about it. As for her own body being seen by others, in any case, once she got out, she would put all her focus on cultivation. Thinking till here, Xiang Jilan directly asked, Junior Apprentice Brother Ning, are you a rogue cultivator? I am also a rogue cultivator. I am in the cultivator army. After we get out of the law's way, I estimate that I will have to leave the cultivator army. Ning Cheng honestly replied, there was no need to hide this. Although the Blue Cloud Academy is only an 8-star academy, but it is only a matter of time before it is promoted to a 9-star academy. If you are willing, I can introduce you to our Blue Cloud Academy. Xiang Jilan stared at Ning Cheng and said. Yan Ji was also looking at Ning Cheng with a face full of expectation. She really had a very good impression of Ning Cheng in her heart. Ning Cheng quickly spoke up, many thanks for Senior Apprentice Sisterland's kindness, but after leaving this place, I'm afraid that I will not be staying in the Lu continent for a long time. Besides, I like to be free. so it's better for me to be a loose cultivator. Ning Qing knew that he had a lot of secrets on him. Moreover, with his terrifying consumption of cultivation resources, staying in the academy was not suitable for him. It's also free in the academy. Core disciples not only have their own caves, but they can also go wherever they want. At the same time, they also have the academy's protection. Besides, I think that if you and junior apprentice sister Yanji can become Dao companions in the future, then it would be very good. Xiang Jilan finally spoke out her thoughts. Ning Cheng was secretly cursing in his heart. If he had known that Xiang Jilan would have such intentions, then he would have definitely diverted the topic. Although Yanji was beautiful, but his mind was really not on this matter. If the first person he met was Yanji, then it would have been possible. But in the modern society, it was basically monogamy. As such, he already had Ji Luofei. As such, he could not have any relationship with Yanji. Not to mention that he would not have any relationship with Yanji, even if he could return to Earth, and Tian Mu Wan took the initiative to look for him, he would not have any relationship with her. The problem was that Yanji was an outstanding woman, and was one of the Lu continent's twin lotus flowers on one stalk. Once he refused, it would definitely cause people to lose face. Although Ning Cheng and Yanji had not been together for a long time, but he knew that Yanji was extremely competitive. Moreover, this time Yanji had fallen into this place in order to save him. Coupled with the fact that Yanji had helped him before, if he refused, then what should he say? Xiang Jilan was not a fool. When she saw the expression on Ning Cheng's face, she knew that she was being reckless. She had never thought that in the face of such an outstanding woman like Yanji, Ning Cheng would still hesitate. Yanji's complexion immediately became a little strange. She had always thought that Ning Cheng also had a favorable impression of her, otherwise how could he have come over when Zhang Sun Yen called him? Ning Cheng obviously came over to save her, and not to save Jialing Wei. She was just about to open her mouth to break the awkwardness, when Ning Cheng suddenly smiled and spoke. Junior apprentice sister Ji is the most beautiful girl I have ever seen. I am just a rogue cultivator. Oh, senior apprentice sister Lan is really too anxious. I have not yet advanced to the profound core realm. This kind of thing can only be mentioned after I advance to the profound core realm. Right, senior apprentice brother Ning, you said that you can perform a spiritual sacrifice. Why don't you give it a try? Yanji interrupted Ning Cheng's words, as she spoke with a smile. When she said those words, her tone had already returned to normal. Originally, she did not think that she and Ning Cheng would become Dao companions. After all, the academy had already made plans for a person like her. But now that senior apprentice sister Xiang Jilan had brought up this matter, she found that she really did have such thoughts towards Ning Cheng. Especially when she knew that she could not get out of this place, this kind of subconscious thought was even more obvious. Good. Ning Cheng finished as he took out 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones and sprinkled them into the blood river in front of him, while simultaneously bringing out a dozen array flags, and finally threw a best-quality spirit stone into the blood river. Just a few breaths later, the blood river suddenly began to churn, as a thick spiritual qi mist formed a whirlpool. This whirlpool was getting bigger and bigger, as it slowly wrapped around the three people. When the three people were unable to even release their spiritual consciousness, they immediately felt their bodies become light. A burst of dizziness washed over them, as Yanji and Xiang Jilan appeared at the foot of the endless blood river peaks. Did we really come out? Xiang Jilan was ecstatic as she looked at the endless blood river peaks around her. Even if she died of old age in this law's way, it would still be much better than dying at the bottom of the blood river where there was not even a bit of spiritual qi. Senior apprentice brother Ning? The first thing that Yanji saw was not that she and Xiang Jilan had come out, but rather that Ning Cheng had not come out. Chapter 221. Ning Cheng really didn't come out? Xiang Jilan also discovered that Ning Cheng was not here, only she and Yanji had come out. I'm afraid that the spiritual sacrifice ceremony can only allow 2 people to come out at most. Senior apprentice brother Ning gave the opportunity to the 2 of us. Ning Cheng had saved her twice in a row, and she had wanted to save Ning Cheng once, but instead had ended up blocking Ning Cheng's path to survival. Xiang Jilan pulled Yanji's hand and spoke. It shouldn't be like that. There might be some other problem with the spiritual sacrifice ceremony. Let's go to Blood River Mountain first and wait for him outside. Yanji suddenly asked, Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, does the Blood River Mountains mean that as long as you stay there for more than 3 years, you will not be able to enter? If we go out this time, it should be impossible for us to come back, right? Xiang Jilan nodded and spoke. That's right, the Blood River Mountains can only be entered by people who have been in the law's way for less than 3 years, but they can also stay here for as long as they want. Once they left, they would not be able to enter again. But you don't have to worry, Junior Apprentice Brother Ningqing is a good person and is also a genius. I have been at the bottom of the Blood River for so many years, but I have never seen anyone who could find the way out. He might be the only one. Since he was able to find a way out once, then he should be able to find a way out a second time. Xiang Jilan comforted Yanji. Yanji shook her head. Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, even a single best quality spirit stone is already a huge opportunity. How can there be 2? Even if he had a way to get out, he would not be able to do so without top quality spirit stones. He and that Feng Yushan are not on good terms. Even Grey Toot Toot came out with me. He is doomed to be alone inside. Seeing Yanji constantly looking at the Blood River Peak, Xiang Jilan's heart immediately tensed up. Junior Apprentice Sister Yanji wouldn't want to enter the bottom of the Blood River again, right? If she thought that way, it would be crazy. Junior Apprentice Sister Ji, let's go out first. Even with our current abilities, we can't save him. Junior Apprentice Brother Ning had finally managed to get us out of here. We must cherish this opportunity. Xiang Jilan hastily tried to persuade her, as she tried to make her tone as gentle as possible. Yanji sighed and only spoke after a long time. Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, I always feel that I owe him. I don't like to owe people anything, let alone a life. But, Xiang Jilan thought for a moment and finally spoke. Junior Apprentice Sister Ji, the fact is that Ningqing might feel that he owes you something in his heart, so you should not think too much about it. On the path of cultivation, one should avoid this kind of mentality the most. Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, in addition to saving me from the hands of Feng Yushan, Ningqing has already saved me 3 times. This time, maybe it was also because of me that he did not come out. How could he possibly owe me? Yanji looked at Xiang Jilan in complete confusion. Xiang Jilan's face turned slightly red as she spoke. Ningqing, in order to check whether or not you have Feng Yushan's spiritual consciousness tag on your body, he should have used his spiritual consciousness to probe your entire body. Originally, only Ningqing and I knew about this matter, but now that Ningqing has not come out, even if I tell you, you don't have to take it to heart. In Xiang Jilan's view, Yanji was a young girl with a bright future ahead of her. For a rogue cultivator like Ningqing to spy on her entire body, it was obvious that Ningqing had taken advantage of her. Yanji's face also turned blood red, but she did not feel surprised. Junior Apprentice Sister Ji, do you know about this matter? Xiang Jilan saw that Yanji was not very excited and asked in a puzzled manner. Yanji nodded and spoke. I guess some of it, but I didn't dare to confirm it. Now that you've said it, I'm sure of it. She was a genius disciple of the Blue Cloud Academy, even if she was distracted at that time and did not think of this matter. Afterwards, she could also guess that it was because Ningqing had seen her body, that he was sure that she did not have a spiritual consciousness tag on her body. If Ningqing knew that Yanji was thinking like this, he would have definitely cried out in injustice. He had seen Xiang Jilan's body, but he really had not checked Yanji's body. Senior Apprentice Sister, you are holding my hand. Are you afraid that I would suddenly rush up to the Blood River Peak and then deliberately enter the bottom of the Blood River? Yanji suddenly spoke. Xiang Jilan somewhat awkwardly let go of Yanji's hand and spoke. I was thinking too much. You should not do such a crazy thing. You have to know, even if you went in again, you would not necessarily be able to find Ningqing. Moreover, the possibility of you falling into the hands of Feng Yushan is even greater. Yanji's tone became somewhat faint. Senior Apprentice Sister Lan, do you think that my character is not even a little bit gentle? Moreover, I am careless and do not care about trifles? Even speaking without any scruples? There are a few, but it doesn't matter. Cultivating the Tao is just to act according to your heart. You don't have to care about other things. Xiang Jilan really felt that Yan Ji was lacking a young girl's modesty. Sometimes the words that she spoke were not like what a young girl would say. Senior apprentice sister, you should know about the Gui Yuan city, right? It is one of the 3 9-star academies of the Le continent, alongside the Wu Nian Academy and the Dragon and Phoenix Academy. Yan Ji did not continue with the previous topic, but rather changed the topic to another place. I know. Yan Ji sighed and spoke. The Le continent has a saying. The first 4 sentences are, twin lotus flowers, begonia blossoms, heavenly stars, half-riding clouds. What do you mean? It refers to the 9 genius disciples, among which the twin lotus flowers refers to me from the Blue Cloud Academy and Nalan Rushue from the Wu Nian Academy. The begonia blossoms refers to the 3 siblings of the Gui Yuan city, Gui Yuhai, Gui Yutang and Gui Yuhua. The heavenly stars refers to our academy's genius senior apprentice brother Kue Tian and the Dragon and Phoenix Academy's Bei Xingjin, while the half-riding clouds refers to the Wu Nian Academy's Cheng Yixiao and the Dragon and Phoenix Academy's Luo Banyan. Xiang Jilan immediately understood as she gave a wry smile and spoke. It seems that in the 100 years that I have been trapped here, the Le continent has produced a lot of talents. Yan Ji spoke up, Senior apprentice Sister Lan, don't you think that the origins of these people are very fixed? The 3 9-star academies and our Blue Cloud Academy. Even a fool would know that the Blue Cloud Academy is about to become a 9-star academy. The Blue Cloud Academy had the strength to become a 9-star academy 100 years ago, so it is not unusual for it to become a 9-star academy. Xiang Jilan certainly did not think that the Blue Cloud Academy did not have the qualifications to become a 9-star academy. In fact, in the Le continent, the 3 9-star academies have been in balance for a long time, while the strength of the Wu Nian Academy has declined greatly. They are not willing to let the Blue Cloud Academy become the 4th 9-star academy in the Le continent, so they have joined forces to resist the Blue Cloud Academy. But in recent years, the Blue Cloud Academy has been producing many geniuses and is incomparably exuberant. The Blue Cloud Academy's senior apprentice brother Kue Tian is less than 50 years old, but already has the cultivation of soul essence realm. Other than the Dragon and Phoenix Academy's Luo Ban Yun, no one can compare to him. In order to win over the Gui Yuan city to support the Blue Cloud Academy, the Blue Cloud Academy came to the Gui Yuan city to propose marriage, hoping that Gui Yuhua and senior apprentice brother Kue Tian can become Dao companions. Listening to Yan Ji's words, Xiang Jilan immediately spoke up, "This is a good thing, what's wrong with it?" Yan Ji spoke in a depressed tone. The Wu Nian Academy knows that their strength is not as good as the Blue Cloud Academy, so they also want to win over the Gui Yuan city, and want to take the initiative to betroth Nalan Rushue to Gui Yuhai. The Blue Cloud Academy is afraid that the Gui Yuan city and the Wu Nian Academy would form an alliance, which would be detrimental to the advancement of the Blue Cloud Academy to a 9-star academy, so Xiang Jilan understood it should be that the Blue Cloud Academy, in order to win over the Gui Yuan city, also wanted to betroth Yan Ji to Gui Yuhai. If this kind of thing happened to her, she certainly would not have any resistance. Gui Yuhai being able to become a genius disciple, his qualifications were definitely heaven-defying. Presumably, his status in the Gui Yuan city was also not low. To be able to become Dao companions with such a person, it would not be a bad thing. But as for Yan Ji, in her heart she somewhat understood Yan Ji's thoughts. Yan Ji also knew the meaning of Xiang Jilan's words. She once again sighed and said, "Originally I was cultivated by the Blue Cloud Academy. Moreover, this move of the Blue Cloud Academy is also for my own good, although they have not explicitly mentioned this matter. But this time after coming out of the law's way, they will definitely mention it. I know that Gui Yuhai likes women who are as gentle as water. I deliberately spoke and did not stick to trifles, but also wanted him to choose Nalan Rushue. But now, Ningqing, junior apprentice Sister Ji, I understand." Xiang Jilan once again grabbed Yan Ji's hand and spoke. She knew what Yan Ji wanted to say, and also understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words. Ning Cheng was not dead yet. He had seen Yan Ji's body, Yanji still had a favorable impression of him. Moreover, he had continuously saved Yanji several times. In this case, for a woman like Yanji to marry another man, for Yanji, it was indeed somewhat unfair. In the Yixing mainland, although a man can marry 3 wives and 4 concubines, and can also have more than one Dao companion, but a woman must be faithful to one person and scrupulously abide by the virtue of a woman. Ningcheng had seen Yanji's body. In a sense, Yanji was already one of Ningcheng's people. For her to protect Ningcheng's body, it was also something that she ought to do. Seeing that her senior apprentice sister understood her meaning, Yanji gave a faint smile and spoke. Moreover, Grey Toot Toot is still here with me. Senior apprentice sister, you have experienced 100 years of loneliness, presumably you should know that kind of suffering. I was almost unable to endure it for 3 years. Now that I have made a choice, then I do not want him to experience that 100 years of loneliness, that kind of taste. If one does not experience it, then they will never understand how terrible it is. Saying that, she patted Grey Toot Toot who was in her bosom, and slowly turned around and once again walked towards one of the Blood River peaks. Xiang Jilan looked at Yanji's somewhat lonely back, and suddenly felt that her throat was somewhat blocked. After fully understanding Yanji's meaning, she did not think that Yanji had done anything wrong. If she was replaced with her, then she would also have made the same choice. But from the time she started cultivating until now, besides finding a symbolic Dao companion, she had never really liked a person, nor had she ever loved a person. But she understood Yanji's mood. This kind of understanding was something that had been exchanged for 100 years of loneliness. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.